Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to VIS here, bringing you VIS64, the official North America Challenger Series, as we start winding down the second split here in the spring season. It has been a really exciting time so far. We've had some incredible matchups, some incredible games, and of course, as we get into the second week, we are just a few days away from teams qualifying for playoffs and getting the full playoff picture in scope. So, without too much banter here and there, though, I am going to introduce our casters for tonight. It is Forecourt Jester and Jaws. Guys, welcome for joining me.
Hey, no worries, man. It's good to be back, honestly. I haven't cast VIS in a little while, so I'm very, very excited for today.
You know what I'm excited about, Jaws? I'm excited about seeing the best anime girls. And I know that this is probably going to get quoted and clipped out of context, but the best anime girls were so good last week.
Yeah, they were really good. Jaws, I don't know if you were here for those series. It was a grueling week last week. You know, we kicked off split number 2 with 64 teams, 32 of them in the Group A here, which we're going to be streaming for you guys tonight. And, some really exciting matchups, some really surprises, really, as we take a look at how kind of the winner's bracket played out, and some big upsets here. NRG got knocked down to the loser bracket by the best anime girls, a number 21 seed beating a 12 seed. We saw huge upsets like Hello Girls getting a 13 seed knocked down by a 20 seed. We saw Team Enforcers losing an incredible series that we were not expecting. I mean, this whole Group A bracket just riddled with upsets. In Group A, it's just absolutely incredible. So, you know, so many exciting matchups are happening down in the loser bracket that we're not even going to be able to see, but we are excited to bring you these two teams. And, yeah, Jaws, I mean, what are you kind of excited most about seeing this matchup?
Really, honestly, if there's going to be more upsets, because like you've already mentioned, there were a few coming right the way down to 20th seed upsets. Like, that's pretty exciting, right? Like, if some of these teams that lower down can take games or even series off some of the, you know, top 10 seeded teams, I mean, I'm always interested to see if that happens again.
Yeah, and we really could. Now, Forecourt, we got some exciting matchups here in this first one. Some exciting kind of storylines that are happening here, because obviously the Cinderella story, best anime girls, you're excited to see them. But Team Ragepingers, talk a little bit about them, because they made a really awesome addition, I think, this week, actually, to their roster. They're really trying to poise themselves. What do you have for us on this team?
Well, Ragepingers has been a brand that has been around the challengers for a good bit. Last year they had an Evil 8 season, but kind of fell out of the top spots early on and didn't seem to ever kind of get into that top 8 again. But, you know, if there's something about the Ragepingers, it's tenacity, because they have continued on again and again into the challengers, continuously trying to make it back. And this round has really shown some really good results in the last split. Didn't quite make it, but so close.
Yeah.
And they're not giving up on that dream. So they just continually come back. We see the same names again and again. Like the Big Dog has definitely been around the scene for a while. I remember just meeting him in person. Like Humanist, I always bring this up whenever we talk about the Ragepingers, but he still has, I think, the only jersey of the Ragepingers back when they had a logo, they had a team and all that. So they keep coming back. They don't take no for an answer. And now that they're here, they're going to be trying to once again hit that top 3. It's just like, I would have been hands down before last week. If you told me they're going up against a team called the Best Anime Girls, I would have hands down said, okay, Ragepingers, no problem. We'll see them in week 3. But man, like I just don't know how to call this next matchup, because the Best Anime Girls put on such a show.
They really did, and I'm excited to see how they play, because they're definitely going up against a top-tier team. What Team Ragepingers did this week, though, is they added a new player to the roster, Starboy, who has been a sub on Team Solo Mid for the last couple of seasons at least. Has made his way, has actually shifted down here into the challengers to take a shot. I actually got a chance to talk to him over the weekend, and he told me that he felt that this was the roster that could go all the way, that he felt like he had a chance to really play, really well on this roster, as well as help them go all the way. And he is a player that plays all heroes, plays multiple roles, either jungle, lane, or support, but he is coming on to Ragepingers with Big Dog, with Truth, to play as a support here, and he's really putting all his chips into this basket for this Challenger Series.
This is going to be new to me because Starboy, every time I've watched his stream, every time, like, when he joined TSM, I was mind-boggled. I was like, this is for real? Like, I couldn't actually tell at the time. And, well, I mean, he hopefully had a good stay with the TSM. But Ragebring is coming on as a starter. This is, I think, the first time I get to see Starboy as that captain, as that roam, because I've seen him jungle with Art of the Throw back in the day. That was...
Fuji, Humanist, and
yeah,
and
but was that last season or the season before? I can't
It
remember.
was last. It was it was before Worlds, right? So we didn't have that winter season. So yeah, it was that autumn season.
Yeah, we'll count. We won't count the off season, yeah, for that one. But yeah, it'll be new for me to see him in a captain role.
Same, and it's kind of something new for him. Now he does, captain quite a bit. I would say he evenly plays all these roles almost equally across the carry and the support position. But I think you're right. We've really seen him play that carry role in these competitive matches. But now he's with two all-stars. Truth of Light, one of the greatest players that have never made it to that top 8 teams, that top tier of Vainglory teams, but definitely, almost did, took his team Necrolite to that echelon, but then wasn't able to compete for that that season. But then coming here with the big dog, the big dog has played in the Vainglory. It has gone to live championships under 2 different organizations, Rage Pingers and with Team Phoenix, and performed very admirably. So, here's the player. These are all-star players. They've got this Starboy here coming down from a team he's been able to mentor under FlashX, and now they're looking to poise themselves for this really deep run here. They were 4th seed last split, and they're looking to go a lot farther this time around.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. New rosters, new chances, and by the end of all this, we'll have to see if the seeds will hold up or not.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I don't think we have to wait much longer. It looks like we're about ready to get into game number 1 between these two teams. And this is really important. If you guys are watching, this is the Cinderella story here in the winners bracket. The lowest winners bracket seeded team remaining, it is Best Anime Girls, going up against this stronger than ever Rage Pingers here in the Challenger Series for the second split. And everything's kind of on the line. This is the final chance here in this season. A lot of, we always are used to seeing a lot of changes and mix-ups happen after the season ends. Teams maybe don't feel like they can carry over that success to the next season. So this is kind of their chance to show that everybody, and Rage Pingers that is, that they've got what it takes to get going. But it looks like we are ready to get going into the draft. And should be getting to this game. Jaws, right as we get into this draft right now, what are some of the key things you're going to be watching between these two teams for game number 1?
I mean, you just saw the lobby chat there, and Ragebring is saying, yeah, I think we're going to ban Rona on this one. So they're actually just going to straight up ban that away. And I want to see a heavy priority on the Glaive pick, honestly. It's been such a force in the VG8 that I'm surprised a lot of VIS teams at the moment aren't picking up sooner.
Yes and no. Like, with Rona gone, we do still have a penchant for picking up some of these healers first. Looking at Adachi, looking at Lyra. Definitely a lot of Lyra and Lance were the big picks today in the EU side of things. But Kestrel to come out will force us into that Lyra first. But this is maybe not something here, Jaws, because last week was certainly a groundbreaking week. But Grumpjaw was certainly a thing for the anime girls here on the right-hand side. So I'm not holding out hope with the Adagio picked up with that black feather. It still could go either way, but if you see a Grumpjaw, expect to see some magic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So we haven't actually seen all too much of it in the VGA. A lot of teams kind of steering away from that new pick and deciding, you know what, we will get a little bit more practice with this before we bring out. I think the TSM brought it out once. We are going to see an Adagio lock-in as well as the black feather. A Sky and a Lyra are going to get picked up on the side of Rage Pingers. They get to lock in their last hero right now. And they've been hovering this Lance, so I can imagine it's going to be so. Lance, another one of those just top tier I was going to say carries. He can be a carry, but captains right now.
Yeah, we had actually a nice turn to Lance a little bit earlier on today. The on-hit still lives, but it's going to be a triple range by the end of it all here with Lyra to be the captain. Starboy going to be throwing the Sky over, I think, to Big Dog as the jungler. Truth off the lane, but might have that backwards. Trying to remember the top of my head. But on the flip, though, with Abstract Wolf picking up the Adagio, they could throw him in lane, but they're just going to put on captain instead. And this is going to be all ranged up against a double melee rushdown.
Yeah, with Naruto picking up this Taka, I'm kind of curious because he's going to have a bit of a rough time against Starboy now, because we've seen Lyra time and time again, the amount of CC she is, well, when she's picked up, the amount of CC and initiation that you really have to think about in terms of using your cooldowns is extremely important, because Lyra can pop down that bright bulwark, disengage, 3 ranged heroes on the side of Rage Pingers. I think it's going to be very, very easy for them to actually fight a full-on 3v3 unless Taka actually gets a nice roam and gank off from where something they probably won't expect.
Well, Naruto is a ninja, remember, so Taka, we're going to have to see how well he can stealth through a lot of things, but between Rock and Naruto, yeah, they are going to have some good cap close. They have a lot of burst potential. If this is going to be Rock Bomber on the weapon, that means Naruto here going to be probably something akin to that Storm Crown, that Aftershock kind of Taka to go from there. But Abstract Wolf is going to be that captain, and it's going to be a big team effort between these guys to get somebody down, because once they commit here, Jaws, the Rage Pingers, if the Rage Pingers don't just straight out drop, like, that triple range will be a big factor for punishing the anime girls.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Best Anime Girls do decide to go full aggressive and push into Rage Pingers, if they manage to disengage with literally anything, Bright Warlock, Passage, whatever, I mean, it's going to be very easy for them to just trade up a lot of that damage and push back on top of Best Anime Girls. We'll see how that does work out. Starboy's gone up to the lane now. Truth is going to match him as well. And Big Dom, he's gone. My favorite build on Sky, Crystal Sky. It just does so much damage for a barrage, but it's going to take a little bit of time to scale up. Where do you think maybe Naruto can take advantage of that?
I would. It really kind of depends if Abstract Wolf is going to be coming with him, because Naruto invading, especially up against that Lyra, like if Lyra roams down during the invade, it could really kind of put things it goes a little bit sideways. But at the same time, if Big Dog's like down to half or something, I think Naruto could really do some damage. But it's all going to come down to footsies, who gets the drop on who. As I said, here comes Abstract Wolf, right? The healers are going to be playing a large part in the counter game.
Yeah, most definitely. Abstract Wolf taking a lot of damage there. Big Dog doing a fair bit as well. Starboy up in the lane. He's going to be a little bit careful. Rock Bomber went a little bit too aggressive there. Not too aggressive even. I mean, Starboy pushed up a little bit too far. It's chunking him out a fair bit, but like you mentioned, those heals are going to come through. That Sigil going to heal him up, no problem. And Big Dog there, I want to touch on that forecourt, was he had a level advantage over Naruto, went full aggressive and just distracted Abstract Wolf, which enabled the laner to just go full on aggressive onto a Rock Bomber even, and he did to get chunked out a little. He's not rock bottom yet, at least.
That's what Dowsy did all last week.
Yeah,
rock bottom. Guy came into the chat after the game, is like, "What did you do to my name?" Like, oh gosh.
Oh boy. Not trying to make it into a meme, I promise.
A little bit of a chuckle there, but so the big thing there is that yes, Big Dog wasn't able to get a big invade. At the same time, Naruto, he does keep his jungle, and ultimately didn't really have too much trouble fending it off. So he has that banner. Looks like a little bit more crystal there for the Sky, and the record really doesn't show good results for the Sky. We'll have to see if that changes.
Oh yeah, we'll have to see. Rock Bomber, he's going to get jumped on. Big Dog doing a fair bit of damage with that 4 barrage. He's going to roam down now. Rage Ping is doing a fairly good job of utilizing their composition thus far. Forecourt just pushing in Best Anime Girls over and over again, using that using their range to their advantage.
Ooh, Naruto did not get that farm.
Ooh, no, he did not. Whoops-a-daisy. He's going to jump straight on top of Big Dog, though. He's going to have to run away. Does use the boots, but Truth is going to be here as well. Dashes forward. Should be just an easy pick-up, clean-up kill here for him. Last auto attack will do it. In Truth, picking up first blood already. Taking that very early lead could lead to disaster for Big Anime Girls, because going up against a triple range comp there, it's going to be very tough.
And he loses at the jungle immediately. So just like mere seconds away from getting off that next smoke bomb, Naruto is going to be the first blood, and Rage Pinger is going to be very happy about that one. That whole thing happened, by the way, because there was a scout trap in the tri-bush guarding the entrance to the Rage Pingers, and Naruto walked right over it. So as soon as that happened, Big Dog hit the boots. He found the invade, he took care of it, got the kill, no problem, and stole jungle on top of it. And that's where you're seeing a little bit of this gold lead happen. That's where you're going to see some of this cash difference between the jungles.
Serpent's Master is going to get picked up, though, for Rock Bomber. So big item now completed here, Forecourt. And do you know what I just remembered as well? Charms are in the game, and I just saw Starboy sending out the little kiss emoji thing. Oh, man, that is going to... Yep, that is going to lead to some serious BM at some point, I feel.
We had some interesting dances last week with the charms. Only in NA. EU did not even touch him, but NA liked to dance around and throw kisses and all that.
Maybe you could call it a little bit more civilized. I think I'm lagging just a little bit. Rage Pingers, well, the big dog is just pushing towards the turret. I'm going to have to quickly reset. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, you just let me know when you're ready to go, Jaws. We'll keep an eye on the anime girls here, but they're not looking so healthy after a little bit of this triple siege coming in, and that's another big thing here for the Rage Fingers. If the anime girls can't engage, then they're going to get poked down. They're going to get sieged out, and you can see some damage already accrued on top of that turret. So they're making their rotation. Looks like they are going to be able to steal away this Treant. Rock Bomber just unfortunately a little bit too far, doesn't connect with the on point, and that will be first items now coming through. Big Dog did pick up the Frostburn, as you did mention. Starboy has that fountain ready to go, has some minion candies to boot, so could actually go a long way for a little bit of push. Could also feed it to the Crystal Sentry if they need to in a pinch. And Truth has gone into a Sorrow Blade. Jaws, this is more of a patch of Sorrow Blades than any other for Vox, I'm pretty sure, over the last year.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's really interesting, the development, because they always went Breaking Point, double Monocle, but sticking with that really early, just straight up damage is just working out for them so well. Big Dog pushing the wave here against Rock Bomber. He's having a bit of a tough time, but with that Serpent's Mask, he will be a little bit more safe in the lane. That sustain is going to be there for him. We do see now Naruto trying to make a little move now, but they're just going to counter that completely. Those flares and scout traps really working out well, but the big dog is just going to jump on him straight away, almost gets taken out instantly, but actually a kill across the map there. Truth ends up picking up one. Astro Wolf going really low as well. He's going to have to pick up that kill as well. Double auto attack through. Oh, I think I spoke too soon. He's going to have to use the boost to dash in there. Naruto almost going to go down to Truth once more. Big dog is going to chase that one up, and that's going to be an ace for Rage Biggins.
So you asked me a little bit about Naruto invading early on, and it really, for me, it came down to what the healers were going to do. Well, this is why. Big Dog just ran circles around Naruto on that Taka right there, and he just could not get any damage done. He couldn't find an angle. Big Dog was very patient with the 4 barrages, always punished the Kaiten, the Kakus, all that. You saw Starboy there at the end, even with that flare, just saying, can't go anywhere into, well, that was a great steal right there.
Wow. Rock Bomber, the last split second, pulls out and just goes, hey, guess what? Just going to steal that one away. So they actually just not tie the gold lead up, but, you know, pull a little bit more in their favor. But that ace being very important there for the side of Rage Pig is taking that first turret, especially against a range composition. I think we're just going to have to touch on it again and again here, Forecourt. It's just going to be so punishing for best anime girls right now.
Yeah, just a bit. Like, the best anime girls are gonna have their hands full trying to get this defense in, but the Rage Pingers, again, like, it's not like they've sealed up this game. It's not a total win yet, but they have
Truth, though, he's going fairly low. I'm gonna have to interrupt you really quickly as Rock Bomber's gonna go straight in there. The sustain from the Serpent's Mask really helping him survive. Truth almost went down there, but Big Dog is going to be here as well. Naruto on the back lines is going to Kaku in there. Will he be able to pick up the kill? Jumps over him, picks up one, but gets traded up. Big Dog is going to be able to secure that one. That Crystal Sky doing so much damage before Barrage. Death and Bruv comes down, does stun at one. Abstract Wolf taking a fair bit of damage. First Judgment comes down as well. That's a lot of damage down onto Big Dog. They're going to chase Wolf down. They're going to pick up the kill as well. That Bright Ball doing a lot of damage. Rock Bomber is going to pick up that kill. Starboy is going to just kite away. Is he going to be able to pick up anything? That shield comes through, but no. Rock Bomber is going to finally secure that one.
Sounds like the Black Feather is just starting to come online. Not only does he get that decent gold payout, way earlier from that steal, but coming back in for those kills at the end. It's not over yet, man.
It's definitely not over. He's going to be fairly strong, and he's got mobility on his side as well. There's something to keep in mind. The on point, the Rose defensive, they can all be used as kind of poking tools, plus the initiation as well. So, I mean, we talk about the triple range, but they do have a fair bit of engage. And Naruto, we saw him there just trying to get the flank off, and he did manage to pick up the kill. As long as he darts in and out of the fight, I think he's going to be more effective if he just stands up to them at least.
Well, you got a hard engage. Double melee, backed up by that Adagio, fine, but you gotta engage, and you can't half-ass it. You can't just go in and then retreat, because you're just going to be eaten alive by that triple range.
Yeah, most definitely. And the big items coming out for both sides now here as well. Crucible, more importantly, coming out for Starboy. Obviously had the fountain finished a bit earlier, but Crucibles is just going to help against the verse, because that verse, I think, is going to be one of the biggest factors of the fights, just because Ragebringers, if they do go for the counter aggression and re-engage into Best Anime Girls, I mean, the verse is just going to halt them in their tracks. In fact, Ragebringers are going to try just that. Passageway is going to get followed through. Starboy kind of alone here. Truth on the back line, just trying to do as much damage as possible. Fountain comes out. Oh my goodness, Best Anime Girls. I don't think they're going to survive this one yet. Forecourt, one ends up falling. Truth is going to be able to secure that kill. Abstract Wolf as well, going to get chased down. Big Dog jumping forward is going to be able to secure the kill. And like I said, that re-engage is just so important. And Ragebringers just make it look easy.
All right, so back and forth, fight for fight, hit for hit, but Team Ragepingers, they're definitely going to be keeping a little bit more of that momentum going forward. And Crystal Sky, I mean, it's starting to do some work, but it has quite the track record against it this match.
Yeah, like, wasn't it like 1-9 at one point? Like, something ridiculous.
The NA VG8 stats were abysmal.
Yes, they were. Ragebringers, though, looking for a little something here. They jump on Abstract Wolf. That Bright Whirlwind is going to actually just hold a lot of people up. Verse is just going to completely miss, because they're just surrounding this Tucker. Almost goes down. Has to just pop away. Big Dog actually in the middle of the fight now. Crucible is going to get popped as well for the shield, but it's not going to matter, because Death from Above is going to come down, trade a little bit of damage, but they trade 1-for-1 so far. Truth picking up one. Hasn't got much energy left on his side, so he's going to have to actually just retreat here. And Rock Bomber, this could be his time to engage now. Without that mobility from the Vox, he's going to be in a little bit more trouble than he wants to be. And in fact, Rock Bomber is going to find him, and Sustain coming through from Abstract Wolf as well is going to help him out. Truth just backing off, kiting as much as he can. I think he might just be able to do it though. Truth is going to pick up one kill. Wolf might just fall as well. Yes, he does. Truth ends up picking up a double kill at the end of that one. No ace coming through for Ragepingers, but picking up the 2 kills and having them on Truth as well is going to be so important.
Yeah, you need to really be building up that Vox at this point in the game, because we're going to be looking at Kraken here fairly soon as well, right? This is a good mid-game point where you get that power spike. If you can finish off, third item, get that defensive, and have an infusion, then you're in flying form.
Yeah, most definitely. Breaking Point is going to get finished as well for Truth, so he's going to go towards that monocle, I can imagine. A gold miner is obviously on the table, so that is something to keep in mind. Rageping is doing a fantastic job now, but skirmishing properly here as well. I mean, Starboy cut himself off using the passage there, but, he made it work in the end. I mean, he can throw that sigil a fair distance to help support his team if they do get jumped on.
And the vision control has actually been very good up against Naruto. You keep seeing, Starboy throwing out flares and scout traps and everything as well, right? But overall, Naruto's not been a very big factor this matchup.
Yeah, not at all. He comes in and just goes straight into stealth again, which maybe you could argue he should do. He goes for an engage, waits for his cooldowns, backs off, and then re-engages again with his cooldowns up. But the problem is, Ragepingers they're just so good at pushing that. As soon as he goes into the invisibility, see you later, they'll just push on to the 2 remaining members, and it can be very hard for him to actually re-engage in a winning scenario. Goldminer did get secured by Ragepingers, so that is their second of the game. They are getting a fair bit of vision down as well, like you mentioned.
So, I mean, as the game does progress, it's definitely a big advantage going forward here for Ragepingers. If it's not just the kills, it's momentum to get into better trades, right? But, the late game potential of Rock Bomber, I'm not entirely too sure it can go just by itself. You need Naruto to kind of step up a little bit at this point.
Yeah, he needs to be able to find those big engages. Ragepingers, though, they are just taking away this Crystal Sentry. Death from Above does come down. It is going to stun up one, I believe. Rock Bomber just taking the worst for wear on that one. They are going to back off. And Best Anime Girls doing a fairly good job now of just trying to pushing back. And I think that's what they need to do. They need to be able to just set up maybe a Death Brush here for Court, and just be able to at least pick off one of Ragepingers, because from there, realistically, they have got a lot of engage, they have got a lot of mobility on their side. It can be very easy. Speaking of mobility though, Truth is going to dash forward. Big Dog is doing a fair bit of work with that for a barrage. Wolf takes a little bit worse for wear on that one. They are going to back off, however.
Yeah, so the Ragepingers, again, with that momentum, with that aggression, they secure quite a bit right there. Starboy, I don't think we'll see a contraption this late into the game, but at the same time, by the time we get into a full build for him, you might actually have room for it if the game goes on long enough. I'm just not convinced it will.
Yeah, it's going to be the big thing there in terms of builds. Stefan Bell does come down, chunks array that turret, does end up getting destroyed in the end. Rage Pingers, they are just going to back off here, taking all they can get right now, using that range advantage to its maximum advantage. Crystal Sentry is going to spawn, just waddling towards that big hunk of crystal down in Best Anime Girls' jungle. They are just going to fight this one though. Bright Bulwark doing a lot of work there. Rock Bomber tried to dash in, but he couldn't find anything at all. Wolf is going to move forward as well. He's going to lay down the verse, but it doesn't really do much because Naruto is going to have to back off here. Rock Bomber in a 1v3 situation with Truth just being kept so healthy. Big Dog's going to dive forward as well. Rock Bomber still not dead. Finally cleaned up by Truth. Truth's going to dash forward once more. That passageway being followed through. Wolf is going to fall once more. Truth picking up another double kill, and yet again Naruto just being left completely alone. I mean, he goes into that invisibility forecourt and then just has to back off instantly because the amount of damage just landing on Rock Bomber.
Yeah, the damage, the amount of interference plays are being done, like Big Dog and his forward barrages, for example, they catch him and all that.
God damn, that is unlucky. Ace comes through as well. That is pretty big.
But yeah, the triple range aspect definitely working well. The kiting aspect definitely working well. Rock Bomber and Naruto just really having a hard time focusing. They're having a hard time bringing somebody down like this. And that is, again, like if you go in that hard and you can't get a kill, then you're just a sitting duck for the triple range. And, you know, Truth, it's like Feed the Truth right now. He is so far ahead when it comes to the last hits, when it comes to the kills, when it comes to the overall gold gain. And said it, you know, like 3 items, you got your defense of that infusion. About the Kraken time was going to be his best spot, and he is just doing wonderfully well.
Ooh, burst comes out. He did try and just snipe away the Kraken. It didn't end up working. Ragebingers, though, just bringing the fight to Best Anime Girls right now, just forcing away Abstract Wolf. They pick up the Kraken, and that's going to be a really big advantage in their pockets. And we always mention this, but Kraken is going to be able to take at least 1 turret from Best Anime Girls. We'll see what Rage Fingers wants to do here, because this might be their final fight for Best Anime. They're just going to go for the engagement, but Truth once more just stacking out the breaking point. He's on 10 stacks right now, just ripping through the front line. Naruto ends up falling before he can even go into stealth. Rock Bomber as well. That Serpent's Mask not really helping him whatsoever. It's actually going to be dissuaded completely with a death from above. There comes another kill, and a triple kill in fact comes through. Truth is going to be he's going to be on fire, and he's going to be in high spirits after this match. 13-1-1 forecourt. Absolute monster on this Fox.
And 13-1, like again, like that's just the feeding of the Truth right here. Like not only did Big Dog really just handle himself well in the early game, then into the mid game, like he himself, I'm not a big fan of the Crystal Sky, but there are those edge cases that make it work, and this was really just like more of a supporting carry rather than a carry, like Truth picking up the 13 kills, right? That guy is just so far ahead in the gold game, but Big Dog and Starboy really setting up a lot of this. You know, the Bright Bulwark, they had the kite ability, they had the mobility, and the triple range aspect just really took the enemy girls a little bit more off guard, I would say. Like, they're used to playing against these higher seeds, but I'm not entirely too sure they were ready for the Rage Bringers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're not looking like the best anime girls right now, but they're looking okay. And I think that what they did best in that specific game was how they engaged, how they kind of re-engaged, how they used the Taka to his advantage. It just so happens that Truth was just a little bit too far ahead at the point where they kind of came online, and therefore just ended in their demise. I mean, you saw how many breaking point stacks he was just stacking up there at the back of the fight with the help of Lyra as well, just keeping him alive. Just did not work out for them. And I think maybe Best Animated Girls need to go back to the drawing board for the draft.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, Dragon, we saw some really fantastic Grumpjaw stuff last week, but unfortunately, that's all we saw from them, that one.
Well, I mean, this draft was kind of fascinating. One that, like you said, the Crystal Sky has its use cases, but I can tell you, going into Ataka, it wasn't the best pick, and I think that Big Dog, and he actually tweeted about, he felt like Crystal Sky was still pretty good. He's just really good at Crystal Sky, and he was able to play it very well, but we saw in one-on-one situations, the Taka usually won the trades, like especially as we got later and later into the game. When Big Dog got separated from his team, he started to lose some of those trades, and it didn't cost them the game, but it wasn't the best pickup going on the A side when you know that they could pick up a Taka to go into that, especially when you've already picked up that Vox. That being said, I actually like the draft of Best Anime Girls. I do think that, you know, when you split the healers like that and you have a Lyra, on a team as well equipped to play with that Lyra as Rage Pingers are, it's just automatically an advantage to them. They're going to be able to perform better than their enemy teams when you give them something they're very comfortable with, and these are all heroes that all these players are extremely comfortable with. But I think second game, I expect to see Big Dog go on something completely different and be just as impressive.
So I still maintain the whole thing where if the Sky was supposed to be the carry, like if you're looking for a 4 blue item Mega Fed Sky, well then you got to go look elsewhere. But in the supporting role that she had, with that Frostburn, with the Death from Above, with the fact that she brought a lot of utility to the table with Lyra there, I really do think that set up Truth very well. So that's why I'm not going to be super harsh on the Sky. If you wanted the carry Sky, yeah, by the late game, she's not really going to have a good time up against that Taka. The burst is too much. The cooldown reduction is just too much. But by the end of all things as well, even the drafts aside, the level of damage was just very different. Like Aspect Wolf on this healer, right? He's a big heal kind of adagio, but the Taka is only 1 item burst, right? The rest is all utility. Teabag with Rock Bomber that round as well. He only had 2 red items, right? The rest of it was utility defense, and that really does show a big power difference into that late game.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, and that's really, I think, how Big Dog wanted to play Sky, and that's how he did play Sky. Those Death from Aboves were great. I mean, he was able to zone on the enemy team consistently, able to put them in places. It really, what he did was he used his Death from Above and his Forward Barrage to continually slow the enemy team from engaging and jumping, although the Lyra's Bright Bulwark did that so well as well. I'm not sure if they needed this guy to also be using that as a gauge, but it did give them two abilities to kind of redirect the enemy team, slow them down from engaging onto Truth of Light. It worked really well.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to give that comp a thumbs up. Even if you like the other one more, just the way they got played out, the way that it unfolded, it just became too defensive oriented from the anime girls, and they weren't able to crack the Lyra by the end game.
Well, they're going to get another shot at it, but we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, game number 2 between Rage Pingers and Best Anime Girls will take place.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
All right, we are back, everybody, getting ready for game number 2. It is the Best Anime Girls trying to take out another upset here, but they are a game behind, and it's looking bleaker and bleaker. Of course, they're not out of this tournament when they do lose here. If they do lose this match, they will drop down to the elimination round, but Best Anime Girls definitely putting up a strong fight so far, but going into a very, very talented Rage Pingers team. And, I mean, as we get ready for game number 2, Jaws, what are some of the things that you saw that Best Anime Girls probably needs to look at focusing on as we get into the second game?
Might have to give Jaws a moment because unfortunately it looks like his jaw, he just talked too much last match. He has to take a short break. So
all right,
he's going to figure out how to get that jaw of his working again. As we come into the draft, though, Dragon, me and you can chat a bit because Sky is out. The Anime Girls say that's enough of that. He really did do too much utility that round. And the Rona 100% is getting banned out against the anime girls here.
Yeah, as we get this draft actually up here for everyone to see, we're going to jump in, and then we do have the ban so far. Sky, you know, interestingly enough that we're seeing the Rona double banned here. I'll be honest, I'm really convinced. I think that the Rage Fingers could win with probably any kind of ban here. They're really that talented as far as how they, depending on how they pick into it. But we'll see how they respect Best Anime Girls here in game number 2.
Not entirely too sure Jaws has a solution yet. Oh.
Yeah, it's working now. So
Awesome, great.
so good. We're back. So yeah, we're in the draft. Yeah, Big Dog is actually going to pick up the Lyra once more, and an Arden actually coming out for Abstract Wolf, and something that I think suits him fairly well.
Well, maybe for you. I'm gonna try my phone.
Oh man, okay. Starboy is going to pick up the Gwen. Gwen is something that, I mean, Excalibur did a video on it recently about how many forms of CC it can block. So I can imagine that's probably one of the reasons why they're picking it into the Arden.
Well, he's not wrong. Like, the video definitely goes over quite a bit. The Skedaddle, when timed right, can really get you out of a lot of situations.
Oh boy, and in the Idris is going to be the lock-in as well. Rock Bomber decided, you know what, actually I'm going to take the Idris up into the jungle. Unless that is a lane Idris, we'll have to wait and see. Well, Naruto even will take that up into the jungle, not Rock Bomber. He is the laner after all. We'll see where that does want to go. That's a really interesting pick to me, Forecourt. Not something we see all too often. And actually, an alpha is going to be locked in as well for Naruto. So I can imagine that Idris is going to go towards the lane. Truth is yet to pick his hero. We'll have to wait and find out what that's going to be. Sky is obviously off the table, and in fact, he's actually going to go for the Kestrel. And that's going to go straight in the jungle position as well for Big Dog.
Oh, triple ranged again here for the Rage Fingers, but at the same time, Idris, and I have to assume at this point it's going to be Weapon Idris Crystal Alpha. Unfortunately, today, at least over the EU side, Alpha with a 0% win rate. The Idris came out 100%, but we have just not been seeing a lot of success with these Alpha picks lately.
Yeah, that's really surprising because earlier in the VG8, we actually saw a fair bit. It really just depended on the early game, if she could at least get maybe 1 or 2 kills and got the appropriate invades off with the help of your captain as well. But we are into game number 2, Rage Pingers versus Best Anime Girls. Rage Pingers already up 1 game. We'll have to wait and see what happens in this one because both these sides are actually picking up really interesting picks and definitely to do with I want to definitely touch on the pick of the Gwen here because we always see Kestrel in the jungle and we always know that if it does get ahead, it can be just so devastating to the backline.
Yeah, the Crystal Kestrel, when played correctly with good positioning, is absolutely devastating. When she gets rushed down every fight and dies within the first few seconds, not very effective. So it's going to be a bit of a juggle there for the Big Dog to see how much how much of each that he'll be able to execute. Will he die first? We have the good positioning. Unsure. But Crystal Kestrel with that weapon Gwen does look like it is going to be the weapon Idris to go with the Crystal Alpha.
Yeah, just that range advantage is still going to be there, like we mentioned. But the thing is, Naruto with even more forms of engage now. Termination Protocol, I can imagine, is going to be one of those effective skills at taking down Truth. But yet again, this Skedaddle is something that I've got to keep in my mind here. Naruto actually just get a core jot onto Truth. Truth taking a fair bit of damage is going to actually just eat one of those potions. It's going to have Starboy to the rescue as well. Going to put a little bit of first aid on him and he's going to be all good. And the Alpha coming up against Big Dog as well. Big Dog has just proven once more that he is very good at this jungle position and can be aggressive when his team needs him to be.
Well, I'd go so far to say that all the players are pretty top-notch when it comes to like a semi-pro capacity. I mean, these guys are going to be the ones pushing forward, looking for VG8s, and that's where they get to really prove to see if they can be that pro material. But at the same time, the last match with 2 healers, we didn't see a single poison shiv. This time, there's definitely a very big advantage when it comes to having that Lyra when it comes to the sustain. So Rock Bomber, I would not be too surprised to see him looking into something like a double lifesteal build with the Serpent's Mask and that Poison Shiv to bring forth a Mortal Wound.
Would be definitely interesting for sure. Rock Bomb actually taking a fair bit of damage there. Does have to dash away as Big Dog did come up the lane with the active camo. Something we see all too often is the active camo use in lane, just getting those early advantages. They are going to spot Abstract Warfare. He actually dives into all 3 of them. He's going to be able to get away, I think. At least Rock Bomber taking a fair bit of damage. has to end up popping a potion to stay alive. Rage Pinger's just playing forward, very, very forward and very, very aggressively as well. Big Dog actually spotting out Naruto here. He's now active camo once more. Naruto, he is the wiser though. He's going to be able to just get away nice and safe.
It's actually more profitable to let Naruto get away just so that we can go pick up our backs there with Big Dog.
Oh, hang on a second, because Truth is going to get jumped on Starboy. He's going to have to get away, using that sigil with the speed up as well. Naruto, it's a lot of damage with those core charges, but yet again, Rage Ping is showing that they can go on the counter-aggression as soon as Best Anime Girls are going to look to back off. Starboy, using that sigil for the speed up again, looking for something. Rock Bomber taking a fair bit of damage, maybe stepped up a little bit too far. Truth managed to find a nice chunk on him, and they are just going to back off.
Big Dog might have actually been able to make a case to invade upon Naruto there, but of course he does not know how hurt he is at this point. And speaking of hurt, Rock Bomber is just kind of straddling the edge of his health bar right there. The triple range has not been very kind to this melee.
No, definitely not. And it's something we spoke about last game. I mean, that triple range is going to do such a good job of harassing. And speaking of harassing, Mort's Wolf going really low. One more auto attack won't finish him off. Abstract Wolf, the savior of Rock Bomber, won't hit rock bottom just yet. Rage Bringers are going to have to back off here as they are fairly low as well, and they know Naruto has come back. And actually, Truth, he got the tension boat.
Okay, that's interesting. I think I hit the clip button.
Whoops. Well, now it's going to be saved in your device forever.
Okay, there we go. We're back. Two things to note. First of all, that the Idris lived because not only does Abstract Wolf have one shield with that Vanguard, he actually has that Protector contract there as well, and that came out to be a very big deal in that escape. So Rock Bomber lives due to that pickup. The second big thing is that Truth has a tension bow. 4 minutes in, picks up a tension bow, no problem. You're going to see some pretty big stealth, and if you can continuously get that Kestrel that far forward, you could see some devastating combos.
Yeah, you really can. Those glimmer shots really do pack a punch, especially looking at a build right now. Tension bow as well. It's going to really, really hurt Rock Bomber. Speaking of hurting, there we go already. 4-core. That was like 2 auto attacks. Actually disgusting. Truth, in fact, looking for something here. Naruto's going to dive in, though. Rifle Walk just once more, just to make sure he cannot get on that back line. That's such an important skill in this game.
All right, so we're not exactly into big items yet, but as long as Big Dog kind of sticks around whenever that tension bow is ready to proc, they are going to wear these guys down. And the anime, oh wow, they're going to go in.
Naruto, hang on a second, just get stunned up there. Has to pop Termination Protocol. He's going to try and look for something. Gets on Truth. No damage being traded up thus far, but Rage King is still trying to do a fair bit of damage. Naruto might just fall here. Only just manages to get up with the infinite reboot. That was very, very close. Truth almost found himself first blood once more. And in fact, Naruto, hang on a minute, buddy. You don't want to go on towards that tree. And Truth is actually just going to pick that up for himself. Abstract Wolf walking into two. Then that tension bow doing a fair bit of work. Abstract Wolf using the boots to get away. Rock Bomber as well is going to be able to escape. But once more, just maybe a few missteps here for Best Anime Girls.
Well, they're just hard pressed. This early on, it's 3 melee. They don't all have level 6. In fact, Abstract Wolf's still rocking level 4 at this point. And until those power spikes really come online, their early game is going to be at a big disadvantage. Unless they can get some kind of clean and clear engage, and it's going to be very few and far between, I feel, with Starboy really covering a lot of the angles here. The triple range will just bully them around. That tension bow really does secure some nice early game damage, some nice early game bursts, and that should keep the anime girls from doing any kind of hard engages.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I want to point out is Truth's A-slot ability does slow as well. Like, that's another massive thing. If they do go for this massive engage, he uses that skedaddle, she's out of there. As soon as she's out of range, too easy to engage, right? And I think that's going to be a massive problem for Naruto as he takes a good chunk of damage to the face. Abstract Wolf is going to meet them in the lane. Rock Bomber's off to the side as well. But once more, this triple range really working out for the side of Range Ping as they've already got 1,000 gold lead and they haven't even picked up a first blood yet.
But even before a fight happens, right, everybody just got up to this lane, and look at the health difference. Like, that is so hard to now engage upon.
Well, I don't know, Naruto will try to look for something there. The fountain actually did get used from Abstract Wolf just to heal him up a little bit. Naruto doing a lot of work there. One shot, one kill does nail Rock Bomber. Isn't going to be too happy with that one, and I've got to be honest with you, I think Rage Bingers are just going to be able to take this first turret without the kill going through just yet. Yep, there we go. First turret goes down, not even a kill on the board. Best Anime Girls they are just losing to this triple range.
Yeah, the triple range siege, they just don't have an answer to it yet. They gotta bide a little bit more time. Once they get into a gauntlet, then perhaps, we're gonna have that extra tool for the engage, but until then...
I think they found Naruto. He goes into infinite reboot already. Didn't even use the determination protocol. First blood's gonna get followed up on. Rogue Bomber in a lot of trouble as well. Now they're just gonna be able to snipe him over the wall. Big Dog picking up another kill for the side of Rage Pingers. First blood going on to Truth as well is going to hurt.
Yeah, and the triple range just really excelling at this point. Picking up the items that they did. It's Shattered Glass early on for the Kestrel. That's a big, massive boost of damage, which pays off very well with the Gwen, because she picked up a 4-minute tension bow, now into an 8-minute second item with the Sorrow Blade. So, again, big damage, big steady damage that these guys are able to abuse early on, and it's the same situation as the last game. If you want to engage, you got to full-on engage, and you got to get those kills. And if you can't do that as the enemy girls, you're not going to have an option for a very easy retreat. So, once more, Rage Pingers really just kind of showing that their triple range comps are not really you can't take them too lightly.
You can't take them too lightly whatsoever, and you can already see the harass coming out. Truth is going to just run forward, and Rogue Bomber has not had the easiest time in the lane. Look at the CS difference. Like, that can just paint the whole picture for it, really, kind of. 57 to 100 on the side of Truth. Like, Truth has just had such a dominant performance. Almost going to be 101 as Naruto almost goes down. Ace is high, does end up missing. Does manage to sidestep that one. Long shot as well, going a little bit wide. Crystal Sentry is going to get picked up as well.
Did he even get a swing off? Like, did he even make it to them?
I don't think so, somehow.
It's just, again, like big early damage items. That's all it is. Truth painted the early game with that tension bow. Just rinse, repeat. Buckshot, Bonanza, no problem, right? Just keep shooting them from the hip. And at the same time, they got Big Dog into that first item. Now he's just looking all blue. Like, this is going to be a very light defensive game, it feels like, from the Rage Pingers.
Yes, it's more of a methodical game, I think, now. They just need to play this one out. You use that range advantage to push these turrets. Just try and chunk them out little by little, as we saw over and over again. Starboy as well. Someone we need to mention, he was a sub for TSM. He's just showing up here as well. Oh my goodness. Yeah, rip indeed. Truth ends up picking himself up a kill. Naruto goes fairly low as well. Almost might go down. Turret gets destroyed. They're just going to chase this one, no problem. He goes into the infinite reboot. He's just going to get taken out. Gauntlet not even effective. Ooh! Abstract Wolf. Oh my goodness. Well, that's going to be it. Go Forecourt Jester. My man. I think it's all already over.
Yeah, it's looking very dire, that's for sure. I never like to say never, but at the same time, 5-0, you're looking at choke point turret. It's 10 minutes in. That's another Crystal Sentry biting the dust there, Jaws. It's looking pretty bad.
Oh man, Rock Bomber not looking so hot whatsoever, and I think maybe he just goes on something like a Ringo, which has seen crazy popularity both in solo queue, in your ranked obviously, and the VGA. I think you just need to pick up that range carry. If you don't maybe favor it in terms of your hero pool, you've got to at least just play it into this composition that Rage Pingers have drafted twice in a row now, this triple range. They're going to find him once more, and Big Dog doing a bit of damage. Has got the Shatter Glass on his side, and he's going to be packing a punch as well.
You're looking at 7,000 gold between these guys here, Mr. Jaws. I mean, that's something in order of 2 tier 3 items. Difference in power. Like, picking up this gold mine, no problem. Now kind of face checking into the shotguns.
Oh, that buckshot is just doing so much work. One shot, one kill is going to go a little bit wide. They're just going to go straight back in, though. Infinite Reboot and Termination Protocol are available from Naruto. He does a fair bit of damage to Starboy, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough whatsoever, because Rock Bomber is in the back lines, and that wasn't enough at all. Triple kill comes out for Truth, and the ace as well. I mean, everything went right there. 4 best anime girls, but no, nothing happened as Rage Pingers just shrugged off all the damage. They're going to finish up the game, I think, here. Forecourt take one turret, going to push these waves through, and that's going to be it. Rage Pingers are going to take this very decisive game number 3 if they can finish off this Crystal Sentry. Maybe I've spoken too soon. Gauntlet does come down. Starboy's going to fall their first kill finally. Termination Protocol as well is not available, so they can't use that to follow up. Big Dog. Now this actually just going to turn this one around. How did they do that? Rage Pingers. Okay, Truth come up with a fire. Truth is he's popping off just a little bit here. He's only died once in this series thus far. 8-0-3. They take the Vein Crystal and they take the best of 3.
Rage Pingers coming in saying, all right, we're going to do our homework. We saw what you could do with Rona. We're not doing any of that. No, 2 games in a row, Rona bans, forces out these different melee carries, and it's just not able to close the gap, like, at all. They can never actually touch the Rage Pingers. There was very few games there. Game number 1, a perfect game if you discount the fact that Langley died at the end to sacrifice himself for the win, but it's just too much dancing. Like, these guys split. They had the triple range. They're playing ping pong, and the anime girls were the balls in the middle, just kind of going back and forth. They had no idea where to go, and they kept going, just dead. Like, by the time they figure it out, they've lost all their health. Truth at the end had like no health, but they still didn't focus him down. Picks up a triple, ends the game. Like,
I mean, Naruto had the perfect engage there in that last little team fight, right? He got termination protocol off. It hit two members of Rage Pingers, and Truth just stood there in the sigil healing from the Lyra, healed up nice and proper, using that buckshot. It's got AoE spread. Remember, the tension bow is going to pack a punch as well. He had Sorrow Blade, cleaned it up with a triple, no problem. And the thing is, Rage Pingers, they did get aggressed on where they didn't want to, and Best Anime Girls just could not find a single kill in that small skirmish.
well, it was a very different game series than what we saw last week, Dragon.
Absolutely, and this is not surprising to see Rage Pingers. I really think they made the right moves here. I think Starboy is kind of that addition they've been needing. He brings a lot of knowledge, a lot of maturity to this team, this very, very young team. And I think Rage Pingers, they're looking really strong. They're looking bright here to be going into the next round on a high note. And if they clean that up and make it, they'll be qualifying for the playoffs here tonight, very likely. So, a lot going right now for Rage Pingers. Of course, it's not over, not even for tonight for them yet, as they continue to move on, though. What that does mean is the Best Anime Girls, they are going to be dropping down to the loser round as we continue here, into the elimination round, as we continue here through the winner's bracket for some exciting matchups. So their story is also not over. It looks like, though, that the Cinderella story that maybe was going to happen here is just, it's not the case right now. The Best Anime Girls, although looking strong this season, have met their match, and they're going to have to go duke it out in the elimination round for the last few hours.
It's not like we're not going to see them ever again, but their path to victory has become just a bit longer.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to take a break, everybody. And when we get back, we will be jumping to our second series. It is going to be the winner of the Echo Fox versus, I believe, that is...
Wasn't it the Sillies?
The Sillies, yeah, Team Sillies versus Echo Fox taking place, a 1 seed versus a 16 seed, but we all know anything is possible. And then we have, of course, Ardent Gaming. They are playing last hour as we speak right now, and as soon as we have the results from those series, we'll be able to jump into that match. Again, we'll be right back after the break.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, welcome back as we get off that break, getting ready for our next series here. And we are sticking in the winner's bracket as we look to take on Echo Fox versus what does appear to... Well, we're not even confirmed that Echo Fox has completed their series, actually. They're still playing the Silly, so we're actually waiting for a confirmation there. But if they do not have an upset, that they do win their match against the Sillies, they'd be taking on what we have confirmed is going to be their opponent, which is Ardent Esports. Ardent completing their matchup actually against a really close seeded team in last hour. So definitely, close seeded team. Looks like they 2-0'd it though quite quickly, so no issues there. And
can you remind me, Dragon, the roster? That's Max Green and company, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Max Green on the wait, which roster again?
Yeah, for Ardent.
Ardent. No, it's actually Fasten, who was formerly laid to rest, and Maurice the Beast. They're kind of like the new guys on the team. So this is what we've got so far. It's Maurice the Beast, Fasten, I Love Fanta Zero, and Andrew XX.
So not Max Green.
No, Max.
Oh no, I'm thinking Green Ranger. Sorry, I'm thinking Green Ranger. I could have sworn he was on Ardent. No? Okay. My bad.
Not anymore. I mean, he was, I think, at one point. I mean, Ardent has, over the last couple seasons, they've had a lot of different players come on and off. Lone Delphi was on Ardent last season. There's been a lot of players that have played for Ardent, on Ardent, and they're kind of looking for those franchise players, those guys that come in again. They had that team, and then, of course, became Team Solo Mid, as we know it today. And they're looking to they're trying to reset that, and it's definitely been tough. This really is the best seeding they've had out of any split over the last 2 seasons. They've definitely been playing well, and they're here in the winner's bracket. They're still in the winner's bracket, with very few teams here on Group A looking to make it all the way through, which they haven't been able to successfully do for a couple seasons now. So I think they're really excited. I'm sure they have to be, that in this matchup specifically, this is going to be a very contested one.
Well, the last VG8 or pro level team, because it was Evil 8 back then, I think it was Ardent Aurora. And we saw them back at, I want to say PAX, but it was the Seattle event, right? We're out there at the Amazon building. It was the finals. And Ardent Aurora, they've had to defend themselves into keeping that split position for quite a bit, but that was also like Wizard Sibs, and obviously he's not here with the team anymore. So Ardent Esports, as they're now known as here, and it could be a return to them. Echo Fox obviously looking to make their return once more as well. Mick Shiko, the Meek, Fuji, and Lone Delphi. Those are some powerhouse names. It would be very surprising to not make a top 3 this split.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very surprising. So they're still in a great spot for it, right? They're coming in here. I think if you look at, these 2 lineups, especially if Fuji plays tonight, you really expect to see a really strong Echo Fox. When they've had Fuji in the lineup, they've played really well. So if he's able to play this time around, I think everyone expects them to be able to come in here and not have too much of an issue, at least in this round. But, Ardent Gaming, we haven't been able to actually see Ardent Esports play very often this split yet, so this is going to be one of the first really contested matches we've seen this new Ardent roster play, and I'm really kind of fascinated and excited to see how they've come together so far in just this very short amount of time.
I've been told by some of our stream monsters that Green Ranger stepped down from the esports, so I guess he's going back to streaming full-time?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a big-time streamer.
The comments I'm getting here is people have caught up to my fail of Max Green equals Green Ranger. Max Green Ranger, go! Whoops. Yeah, my bad, guys.
Yeah, it happens. There's so many in this. The name changes are crazy, right? So there's so many different name changes that you have to keep track of, on top of the fact that you've got so many different colors and so many different, adjectives.
Trolling me without trying to troll me.
Well, I think I was the one last week who mixed up Golden Light and Truth of Light. So you know what?
Oh, how could you?
That was a big egg on my face, and of course the chat grilled me royally for it, as they rightly should have, and that got corrected, not to be made mistaken again. So definitely sure not to do that. But yeah, it happens every once in a while. We're actually still waiting to get an update. We do know for sure that Ardent did get 2-0, or at least we got the confirmation from the teams. We're actually waiting. We have no confirmation on how Echo Fox has performed thus far into this winter bracket game.
Internet down in the team house. Oh wait, no, they don't have a team house.
No, not yet. But
No,
not yet.
Everybody's still waiting.
I don't know. Echo Fox definitely has a lot of success in some of these other games. I was half expecting on the back of the announcement to hear like the VG guys are going to move in, and then I was like, man, they could do like a Royal Rumble content of like this game versus that game versus in these like house challenges, and the loser has to take out the trash and stuff like that.
Honestly, that is the coolest thing to see.
Yeah, unfortunately they're not doing that.
Oh.
I don't know
Like the
anybody doing that.
the CS:GO people playing Vainglory, the Vainglory playing people CS:GO, etc. That'd be so funny.
I was thinking more like ping pong, like they get a ping pong table,
Right, okay. I
or
mean, mine would be
billiards,
fun
or,
too.
Frisbee. I don't know,
Ultimate Frisbee.
more humane things.
A humane thing. What than having a VG player play CS:GO?
And a CS:GO player playing VG. Yeah,
That would be that's why
be
it'd be
torturous for
entertaining.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it'd be funny. But it'll be like a secret that one of the players plays either of the games, both of the games, and it'll be like, "Wow, you're so good at like CS or whatever." But no, secretly he just plays it a lot as well.
See, we don't have like an Olympics of esports. You don't have triathlon kind of stuff, right? Like where you got to sit down, you got to win a game of X, Y, and Z, and the winner of 2 out of 3 of this team gets to move on to the next round. Where there's even like a new games A, B, and C. You know, we don't have that kind of stuff. Video games is very singular when it comes to a pro kind of choice as a career.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I mean, it would be so hard to specialize, and there's very few players that actually specialize in multiple games. To be fair, so I can name a couple that have reached the highest levels in multiple games. But
you watch any fighting games?
Evo, and every now and then random. Yeah, but like Evo and all of the fighting games in Evo, like just as a spectator.
Like the closest thing to what we're talking about, I guess, would be like the fighting community guys. Like if you're playing really good in one, you could actually play very well in another. Super Smash Brothers, for example, right? If you play one Smash, you probably play some of the others to a similar degree. But that's again like the closest thing we got to this kind of example. But this is all just like wish and fancy. Probably not going to happen, Jaws.
I mean, yeah, let's be real. There's probably not going to be an Olympics of some kind, but it's still really cool to look at, actually, because a lot of StarCraft players went off to play other MOBAs. Like, not other MOBAs, but like MOBAs. And then I know like a couple of MOBA players did go on to play things like Overwatch as well at quite a high level. It's just the mindset, man. That's all you need is the competitive mindset.
If you're mechanically skilled as well, I mean that translates over. I can see a lot of the VG guys when they're done, like just forever kind of keep those mechanics. You know, any future games they just dominate in.
It makes sense because a lot of the strategies are specifically to MOBAs and even, real-time strategies, right? Because that's what MOBAs are. They're real-time team strategy games where, a little bit different. There's so many aspects to it that carry over from game to game. The ability to just think a few steps ahead. That's a trait that once you've got that knack, you can think a few steps ahead of your opponent in almost every game. Whether it's chess, whether it's,
Well, I was about to say chess. Yeah, let's play some chess,
It doesn't really matter. So some people just have those skills and they really translate well. I think what you're seeing and what we're really excited to see, of course, is just these games. Some of these games rise to the top here, and MOBAs being that genre that really has. But as we kind of look to take a look at what's going on here, I will say that we did get an update. The Echo Fox matchup, we're not sure if it's in Game 3, but they are in about 15 minutes into their matchup playing against Team Silly. So we do have a few more minutes until we get into that game. So I'm thinking we'll take a quick break, real short one, another few minute break, and then when we get back, hopefully we'll be able to make sure everything's ready for you guys and get into this second series. What do you think? Forecourt, looks like we're good here in a few minutes, so we'll take a quick break.
I was more than happy to talk about Vainglory being a chessboard. Like,
we'll have more. We'll have plenty more time.
We'll do that next time. Right?
Yeah,
we'll do that.
We got time to talk more as we get back here in just a few minutes. We'll be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere. This first game between Echo Fox or Team Silly, we don't know yet. It's Team Silly or Echo Fox battling it out against Ardent Esports. Will be taking place here in a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Alright, everybody, we are back. We're alive and we are ready. Good news is it was just a few more minutes and we got word. Guys, Echo Fox winning game number 3 against Team Sillies. It did go to 3 games. I'm kind of curious how that matchup might have been. I'm really sad that we weren't able to stream it for you guys, as that sound like probably a more exciting one. Definitely more closer matchup than what we just had with Rage Pingers. But nonetheless, they're here ready to play Ardent after a grueling 3-game series, Forecourt.
Well, they might just need a moment or two to make sure that they can get their wits about them. A 3-game series that took a better part of an hour and a bit to get that one rolling. You know, they might need a little bit just to unwind, but we do have most of the teams here. As Mixie and Lone Delphi has shown up, now we're just waiting for the Fuge. But I Love Fanta Zero, Maurice Da Beast, and Fasten, aka Laid to Rest, coming in. So Maurice Da Beast, like, I remember this guy from last year here. Dragon. The big thing that came to mind is I'm pretty sure he was with Brutal Turtle, or maybe I'm just mixing those guys up. But very aggressive kind of plays from those guys back then.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they it's definitely he's played a lot of teams. He's played competitively for some time. Maurice has. And, you know, so is Laid to Rest on multiple different teams. I'm not really sure who I Love Fanta Zero is. I'm not sure if that's like a name change from someone in the past. But, you know, these guys coming together here in Ardent, I'm really excited to see how they play. They had an easy 2-0 on their series. So, you know, this is definitely all these teams 2-0ing and then Echo Fox coming in here. Now, one thing I will say is that, you know, looking at who's playing for Echo Fox, it's a pretty drastically different matchup here. I don't see Kolamik, and I'm being told that Fuji's playing, so it's Mixie, Lone Delphi, and Fuji. I'm kind of just trying to decide who is going to be supporting for this series. Is it Mixie? Or is it Delphi? I can't tell.
Could actually just be Fuji. Like, he's a super sub at this point.
A super sub. The best kind of sub, a super sub. Just subs for any role. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I mean, you could probably just chuck him on captain, in all honesty. Like, he's had so much experience, and the shot calling aspect of his role in the team would probably play a larger aspect than his play itself, you could argue.
I think so. And I think that, it really helps. But one of the things that I found talking with Fuji and the Echo Fox is they really, having that live shot caller, it's definitely very pivotal. But hey, we're getting right into this matchup, guys, so we're not going to take too much longer to beat around the bush. I'm going to kick it over to you, Forecourt, to start things off.
Woof. Okay, so took us a little bit, unconfirmed, confirmed, unconfirmed, but now we are confirmed. It's going to be game 1, and it's going to be an alpha ban because the Fox don't like what the alpha brings to the table. Even though, again, like the record, this patch is just abysmal for her in the pro play here, Joss.
Yeah. Can we not talk about it? I mean, it's got a tender place in my heart.
Yeah,
it's got a tender
all right.
place.
Just keep banning it, guys. We'll be good.
keep banning it.
Yep.
Well, all right. Well, do what Forecourt says. Just keep banning it. However, Catherine is going to get picked up for the red side, and Vox as well. So Lance is going to come through here as well for Echo Fox. It's going to be a pretty big pick, and I'm honestly surprised, Forecourt, we didn't see Lance in the last game.
Lance was 100% play rate over in EU. He was almost always a first pick potential for this one, but Lance to go with the glaive, very likely going to be a Captain Lance, as we're probably going to be getting something like that crystal utility glaive out there into the jungle. You're going to be looking at some kind of laner at this point, but we've seen a good bit of Gwen. Idris has been out there. Could have gone for the Ringo, but it will be the Gwen to secure it. So that's a lot of actual CC that you can build up on this one, right? You got the Impale, you got the Githian Wall, Afterburns, and now an Ace up her sleeve as well.
Yeah, if that ace lands, I mean, realistically, is there anything you can do about it, Forecourt? Tell me right now. There's so much CC on the side of Echo Fox. It's going to be quite disgusting. As Susan Impale lands, Githian Wall, literally anything. It's going to be a nightmare for Arden to actually kind of shake that one off. But we'll have to wait and see as we do jump into the game. It doesn't look like Fuji is actually going to go on that Lance roll, so he will be going towards Captain, like we mentioned. The Petal is going to get picked up for Arden as well. Another really, really strong pick, and something we've seen the VG8 creeping into a more popular role.
It could work out. We'll have to see. There's a lot of tension for these guys because, again, Echo Fox coming out of the VG8, they're looking to get back, but Ardent finally into a top 8 seeding. Like, this could be their big chance to get into week 3, week 3 uncontested. But it's gonna go either way. Jaws, we're getting into it all here, sir, and I want to say that it is Fuji on that Captain Lance.
Yep, he is indeed. He's got those boots, he's got the oak heart, and a couple of potions to back him up. And I'm really excited to see more Gwen. If I was going to say Petal, but we've seen Petal a fair bit. I'm really excited to see more Gwen. Honestly, I think it's a pick right now. That was proven last game. If it does get ahead, if you build something ahead like a tension bow, it can be extremely frustrating to deal with, and the damage it can output as well is just absolutely disgusting.
Okay, Mixi is going to go home, but Ardent know that. I don't think they know that the invade is still kind of going on, but there's no 3v2 collapse going down.
No, there is not. Fuji and Lone Delphi in a bit of a rough situation right now if Fantazero did want to rotate, but they decide, you know what we're going to do instead? We're actually just going to invade Echo Fox's jungle. We're going to take a few of these camps away, but Mixi obviously taking those as well. Taking the backs at least, just making sure Ardent cannot get the whole jungle.
Yeah, but the backs will be at least secured, both sides there from the Fox, and nobody off into the lane yet. We've actually been seeing this strategy a little bit more this patch, and honestly, it's not really that big a deal. Like, you might be a little bit behind number-wise, but in terms of the gold, it's almost neck and neck, and as soon as this wave pushes in, Mixi's going to be able to pick up probably most of it. Might miss one or two here and there, but by the time it all said and done, it's all equal when it comes to the money.
All said and done, all equal, and I'm sure it will be. I mean, realistically, we've seen it time and time again where both teams will kind of either swap jungles, literally taking each other's jungles and then kind of backing off, or we'll see, the fronts being taken from either side and then again flip over. They both take each other's backs. Like, it doesn't really matter all too much, in all honesty, but, etching forward and just getting those pinnacle rotations off is more important in the early game than just a couple of camps.
And those rotations could yield you a kill. That's like the bonus that you're going to be running on top of this one. If you can find that kill, you already put yourself ahead that much. But now with the waves still pushed up against Mixi, he's not pushing out, forcing Arden to engage real far forward here.
Yeah, they are really far forward. Maurice just kind of pushing up here, and Fuji using that Githian wall just to kind of, make sure he knows his distance, knows where he can and cannot roam to. Lone Delphi is going to be here, though, after burning into the wall. It's a lot of damage onto Maurice. He actually tries to get away, but cannot. First blood goes over. Lone Delphi is going to be able to pick that one up.
And that's the danger of pushing up that far forward, especially against some early game lockdown combinations like what Fuji has available to him, like what Lone Delphi brings to the table with that afterburn, because you can lock down so very easily. Nobody's going to have reflex blocks, and there's no Gwen on the other side, right? So the only kind of real block this early on is that skedaddle, and you're just not going to be built for it. So that's going to be the first blood going over, as Fox have taken that kill lead, and they're going to start taking a little bit more of the cash lead because their jungle is now theirs, and we finally caught up to the backlog of minions. Mixi now pushing up to 26 CS, which again is pretty much on par with what I Love Fanta Zero is here at this point. So, early game rotations evened out, but the kill just kind of breaks the bank.
Question is, though, why Fanta Zero? Why just not normal Fanta?
Well, my first thought was for a pun of like I Love Joseph. There's a whole bunch of Smurf accounts that follow that I love, X, Y, and Z kind of mentality right there. But it is apparently a rename as we look for another kill.
Maurice, he's going to be alright. Just use the boost. I'm watching him like tap the boots. He just managed to get out of there just in time, and that's going to be. To be fair though, tapping, just using the boots fairly early on like that just enables the enemy team to kind of play around that, and like he's not going to be able to play so far up now. And that's something that Echo Fox are going to have to kind of note down on a little bit of paper, just making sure they know those big cooldowns. And Fuji actually stealing that one away from Fasten as well. It's going to be pretty big as they do rotate down to the shop.
Yeah, and 2 minutes still on that timer for the boots. Maurice is not going to have that extra little bit. He can't go as far forward. He can't easily catch somebody if he wants with the Merciless Pursuit. So, having a big cooldown like that out, it's not the end of the world, but it's a nice little get that you get out of that one from the aggression. So Echo Fox definitely would have liked the kill, but, they'll take second fiddle at this point.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, 2 minutes, man. Come on. That's like 10% of a game sometimes, so it's going to be a pretty big cooldown, especially against something like the composition running from Echo Fox right now. Look at the CC coming from them. I mean, Mixi almost at that level 6 mark. Fuji obviously on the level 4, only needs to get him wall and impale. And Lone Delphi has already proved what he can do using that afterburn. Absolutely disgusting combo. We've seen it in VG8 a fair bit. Just unwinnable lockdown. As soon as you get on top of anybody, especially someone like a Petal as well, lowest base HP in the game, it can be extremely frustrating to deal with because you're instantly blown up and there's nothing you can do about it.
So the CC goes a long way here for Mixi on top of things, because with that CC lockdown, he's gone into that tension bow early. Look at the burst he can put out on top of Maurice the Beast. Like, Catherine's supposed to be somebody that doesn't really suffer burst a lot, right? She has that Storm Guard, but if it's not up and she doesn't have a lot of health, she's not going to be very tanky of it, and that is some pretty hefty early damage coming up from the Gwen.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Tension bow, do you think this is kind of I don't want to say like a new meta because I don't want to put it in that kind of bracket yet, but do you think it's something a lot of teams are actually just favoring now? And I'll interrupt myself just a little bit as Fanta does get jumped on, and that stun CC chain just gets followed up quite nicely with the damage coming out from Mixi. He's going to be able to pick himself up the second kill of the game, and that going on to him will be very, very nice coming into this one as well. And he's going to imagine, I can only assume he's going to go into something like a Sora Blade.
It very likely is going to be a Sora Blade to follow up, because Attention Bow is just to help dominate the early game. And with a comp setup like this, it's a catch comp. If you get that Impale, the Githian, the Afterburn, doesn't matter what it is. You start the train, and it ends with pain. And, it's going to be really Mixi bringing that pain by the end of it, because that extra burst, it did get buffed up this patch. Like, you do see more armor penetration, stripping kind of mechanics this patch, simply because like Tension Bow, Bone Saw, and all that did get a pretty decent boost, right? So it's much more viable if you want to push and punish that early game to control the mid game. And this is the second time I've seen it today now in matches.
So we're not calling meta just yet, but Tension Bow, very, very niche. Strong. I mean, it's niche. Yeah, definitely.
If you want to win by the 10-minute mark and you want to push aggressive, a Tension Bow is going to be right up your alley.
Well, you could say McShee's the captain of that train, or conductor. You're not really a captain of a train, that's more of a ship, but the conductor of the tension bow train at the moment. McShee's doing a fairly good job so far. Has got Aces High available to him as well. Oh, I didn't know. They aren't looking all too bad just yet. They just need to get their rotations on point. I mean, Fasten just hasn't really been an impact in these fights, and we all know what a pain Petal is to kind of deal with. And her mobility, and you just saw it there using that trampoline. It can be very, very hard to lock down, but as soon as she is, obviously, does get blown up very quickly. Fuji once more stealing away one of those fronts. They're going to go straight onto the gold miner even. I was going to call it Crystal Sentry, but not quite there just yet. As Fasten does find himself on the wrong side of Echo Fox. McShee pays him a visit and absolutely deletes him. Whew, tension bow.
Yep. It's tension bone lockdown, man. Like, at the same time, Glaive has now leveraged the early game. You're looking at something like a 3,000 gold lead between these guys, but he's leveraged into full build. Like, he's full damage. The rest of Glaive is, at best, I don't think we're actually going to see another damage on him.
Well, I don't know, man. We've got an aftershock, and he's doing a fair bit of work. Maurice actually finds himself on the wrong side of an afterburn. Does end up going down. That turret almost finishing on McShee. Does end up getting away. Echo Fox already just piling on this pressure here for Court. And Fanta Zero definitely doesn't look... he's not looking like the full sugar Fanta, what we all want to see. If that's what you prefer, I don't know. It's up to you.
I remember the Fanta ads. They always had the Fanta girls. They're like the Power Rangers Fanta, you know.
The Fanta... What? Really? I don't think I've ever seen those adverts.
I'll link you an ad later. It's fun.
All right, okay.
It's really,
is that like
totally
a 90s advert?
It kind of was a 90s advert. Yeah, they had some strange advertising back then. But
yeah, they did.
Yeah, this early game, not very strange at all, like, from Echo Fox. Like, that tension bow into the Sora Blade. And again, like, what I was trying to say is, I don't think you're going to see another damage item from the Glaive. He's just going to go pure utility. So this is as strong as an early game as you're going to get out of Echo Fox. You got 2-item Gwen, you got 2-item there for that Glaive, and this is just now rinse repeat. Get kill, get kill, get kill, control, control, control. Because if they can contain and control Ardent, then they're going to be very hard-pressed even just to get a kill. And you said that Petal might have been a little bit more of a difficult guy to deal with here, but everybody deals area of effect damage here with Echo Fox. Like, there's not anything here that doesn't do singular targets of damage. So those Munions are going to be hard-pressed to live through a lot of this.
Poor Munions, ripped Munions in 2017, but Fox are actually just going to push through to the jungle of Arden. They are going to take out the Crystal Sentry. They're actually trying to find McShee here on the back line. Does get stunned up, but Maurice actually a little bit out of position here as either Fanta just takes all of the amount of CC to the chops. Does end up going down that blast chamber, not really be able to do anything whatsoever. Fasten has found himself on the wrong side of the map. And you could argue that's a lot of the map right now as Echo Fox picking himself up another kill. Look at where Fuji is as well, just kind of proxying this wave at this current time, just making sure it can't actually meet their wave. And there's Lone Delphi finding another afterburn, but they do take the first turret of the game, and Echo Fox looking very, very strong in this first game of the best of 3.
So Marista Beast in the very beginning of that fight really tunnel vision on top of McShee, who was around the corner. Wasted a lot of time for that Catherine to get around. The speed boost did really fade off by the time that she got that stun in. But then that was it. Marista Beast, he was isolated. And at the same time, there was no big follow-up on the stun on top of McShee. So McShee survives through that, throws out that ace, gets the stun, and from there they just cleaned the clock of Arden, picked up that sentry and the turret on top of things. So again, really good positioning can negate a lot of the fact that you might think that you need defense. Really good positioning just means that you're untouchable.
And that's exactly what McShee was. You saw him kind of retreating towards the very bottom right-hand corner of the map there, just making sure he's furthest away from Arden as possible. And Maurice had to chase him so far to get a stun down, and that meant the rest of his team were just completely out of position. Fanta Zero took everything, every kind of form of CC. Almost takes another one there as actually Afterburn does end up finding him. That's a lot of damage. McShee wants more coming through, but almost goes down himself. Does manage to pick up the kill onto Fanta Zero. Another stun comes out as Aces High does end up missing. Petal falls as well. Maurice doesn't stand a chance in a 1v3 situation, but McShee almost falls to Crystal Sentry. He was almost the hero of Arden. Doesn't end up going down. My heart leapt there as well for Corp, but he's going to be all right. 9-0 on the side of Echo Fox. We do end up pushing on towards this second tier turret.
So get advantage, get kill, rinse, repeat. Get advantage, get kill. Now they're getting objective after objective. Like, it's kills, it's aces, it's turrets, it's sentries. It's really just all coming up Fox at this point right now. And this is really their game to spoil, because they have accrued themselves almost into a 10,000 gold lead at this point, Jaws. And that's a pretty deep hole to find yourself in at the 12-minute mark. So the difference in items alone, the execution be aside, Echo Fox really have an iron grip on this mid game.
Yeah, no problem. Only a 10,000 gold lead. Low Delphi wants to extend that even further, does it? They're finding Maurice here, fast on the sidelines. They're taking so much damage, and that's going to have to be the fountain pop to just try and save his life, but it wasn't enough. But they do trade 1-1 as Ming-Shi does end up going down. Elephanta kiting back. Can he find anything more? No, he cannot. Fuji finishes off with the Githian wall, and now Maurice is on the retreat. 1v2 situation. No damage on you, buddy. No energy either. You're going to find yourself on the wrong side of an afterburn. You end up going down as well. Ace comes through for Echo Fox. And they are just echoing through the ranks of Ardent Esports right now. Oh my goodness. So is there anything that can stop them at this point? I mean, they finally picked up a kill, but with no avail to find anything else.
Well, the sentry didn't stop them, that's for sure. In fact, they're going to just stop sending sentries to this fold because it's way too dangerous. Yeah, the Fox, again, just taking a lot of control here. Yeah, Ming-Shi at that point did die. It's the first kill on the board, picking up a nice bounty on that one here from Ardent, but it's just overwhelming. Like, the engage really does make you kind of panic, make you sweat a little bit here, and Ardent is trying to do the best they can, but again, there's almost, two tier 3 items between these guys. You're looking at 3 items on Ming-Shi. You're looking at Lone Delphi. Again, like, you're not going to see any more damage from him, but it's all that utility, that tankiness. Fuji, of course, in the midst of all things, you're not going to be bringing him down anytime soon. So it really does come down to killing out Ming-Shi, but he does so much damage up front that even if you bring him down, he takes someone with you, and you're not going to win the 2v2 after that.
Well, there we go. He's got a breaking point, and he has the infusion on his side as well now. Really not looking good for the side of Ardent. Maybe just looking to go next and decide, you know what, change up our strategy next game. Maybe ban away something like a Glaive or a Lance, just see what they can do. Because at the moment, Echo Fox looking very, very strong. And you did mention Lone Delphi going more of a utility route later on in the game. That's exactly what he has done. Has obviously got Atlas Pulsion, so yet again another dampening effect on Fantazero's damage.
Yeah, this is all feed the Ming-Shi at this point. Like, yeah, we got 4 kills there for Delphi, but it's Delphi and Fuji to set him up, Ming-Shi to knock him down, and we'll have to see if they do that again right here.
Well, they're just going to get jumped on once more. Maurice finds himself on the wrong side of the team fight. Blast Trapper does come out, does hit 3 members, but Fuji's going to push forward, taking a fair bit. Silence comes out as well. Ace's side goes a little bit wide. This could be their time. Ming-Shi going down very, very low, but just being able to climb back. That Crucible just doing a lot of work as well. Rue comes through once more onto Fasten. Ming-Shi finally ends up going down once more. But Maurice is not long for the fold. Ends up taking another impale to the face, and once more, Ardent Gaming, Ardent Esports even, just falling to Echo Fox's just unbelievable night at CCD.
It's crazy how long Ming-Shi can live through these fights. They don't have a Lyra, they don't have an Adagio, but they are still keeping him alive so incredibly long. You saw how quickly the pedal melted right there, and Ming-Shi is just able to do more than enough damage to justify his own death, because as I said, you're not even going to win the 2v2 after that. They're just too tanky, they're too spammy, and so let alone winning that 2v1. Like, Maurice the Beast did not have an option on that one. It's almost like Echo Fox are playing ping pong ball, though, and Ardent Esports are the ping pong ball. Like, if you're not being shunted one way, you're being Githian walled the other, you're being impaled, you're getting just knocked everywhere. It's so hard to walk a straight line right now.
Yeah, so you'd say Fuji and Lone Delphi are the bumpers, right? Not the bumpers, the paddles, the flippers.
Yeah.
And what would you say Ming-Shi is? Is he a bumper? Well, hang on a minute. Fuji has found Spectre. Paddles are going to go in. Ace's high does fall a little bit wide once more, but look at the damage actually just coming out from Lone Delphi. Almost completely solo kills. Fasten. Ming-Shi, you're not even needed in these fights, buddy. I think we can take these 2v3 at this point. Another afterburn does land onto Fantazero. Maurice the Beast coming through once more as well. Just trying to do something, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. Forecourt, I think we're going on to game number 2 here as Echo Fox just kind of run rampant through Ardent Esports.
You're just going to get denied everything. Can't go left. No, all right. No, you can't go right either. No, okay, go up. No, just get stunned. Die. That's cool. That's literally the team fight in a nutshell right there. It's just bing, bang, boom, man. And yeah, those are the paddles. Ming-Shi at this point, though, he's just kind of like the hand of God saying, no, I'm just going to break the ball in half and stop playing this game.
That's exactly what they are going to do right now. Is Echo Fox, well, they're looking pretty strong. I mean, 1-0 and in this best of 3 right now. And Arden Esports, they really need to kind of go back to the drawing board in terms of draft, because I don't think you can let a Glaive and a Lance come into the same team, because that is just so devastating to play against.
Well, when you set them up correctly, there's a little bit of the blame here for Arden Esports, and I know you have an opinion on this one here, Dragonborn, but Petal against just such AoE was probably not the best of moves.
Yeah, it was challenging. You know, I actually really like, you know, seeing the Catherine with the pedal. You can lock someone in place and just pick away at them. Catherine in this spot wasn't too bad, but, you know, Glaive on Lord Delphi doing a great job getting back in the back line and not letting that Frostburn slow him down. But the real thing was Mixi, right? And there were a few times where we did see that Aces High connect, when we did see the buckshot slow down the pedal. Pedal couldn't really get onto this target or get away from the target, and that really limited Facet. Also, that buckshot doing a lot of work against those Munions, which can really be that kind of that kryptonite that Petal can give to other heroes, that if you can counter those minions pretty quickly, it makes Petal just that less fierce. And that's what we saw. They do a really good job, Fuji and Delphi and Mixi together. And throughout the entire game, from beginning to the end, managed the Petal very well, and they actually, you know, did a good job against the Vox. The Vox did get to 3 items, but just was a little too late. Wasn't able to get there fast enough, so Mixi getting to that point, that 3 item point a little bit sooner, hitting those power spikes. But, you know, interestingly enough, we see Fuji as a support in this game. It's the first time we've seen him play on Echo Fox as a support. There looks like Echo Fox really trying all these different positions out, really trying to see what's that perfect fit for them as they go through these challengers. And so far, you know, they've been able to win every match so far, or every series so far, running into a little bit of trouble here in the last series, but not too much. So we'll definitely we'll have to see how it goes. We're actually going to get into game number 2 here in just a few moments, as players taking a little bit of breather to get ready. But man, you know, one of the things that kind of stood out to me about that game for Court was, you know, that just the positioning that Fuji brings as a support, the ability for him to kind of just be the aggressor, to lead his team into the right positions when they're ready to fight. That was a huge difference. We saw him on that Lance continually, time and time again, being able to get into that front line, you know, protect his team, get an eye on where the enemy was, and then make those decisions for team fights.
So this is, again, the second time I've seen a Tenchimbo Gwen today. It's the second time that we've seen really early pushing kind of ideas, right? And pairing the Gwen this time with that, the Glaive and the Lance. Again, like, yes, Jaws has some valid feedback in terms of you can't really put the Glaive and the Lance together. There is a lot of coordination that they can bring down on top of one person. You just eliminate them out of the matchup. But the early push with the Lance, I really do feel like that fit into Fuji really well. And if you remember Fuji as a jungler last year, like, he set records for speed and levels through the jungle on this Lance. He knows this guy inside and out. Although I would probably factor at this point that Fuji knows every hero inside and out. But, like, such aggression early on just felt so good to them. Like, they were able to execute it very nicely. And I'd be very surprised if they deviated from that. Like, next game, if we're likely to see something similar, just because I want to see them continue on with that kind of train. But at the same time, maybe we'll have to see, you know, what can Fuji do with a more of a passive, maybe more of a reactive jungler or captain instead. Like, if I had to guess and Lance is open, they're going to take it.
Yeah, I think that the key here is I think the Fuji can lead them to victory no matter which path. I think he understands the metas and the heroes and the counters, as well as their early to late game potentials, that he could guide them no matter how they end up in the draft. I think he can help them in the draft better than anybody else. But what's interesting is that the tension bow on the Gwen is exactly intended for that early game snowballing effect. You know, to get that early game lead in gold, so that your jungle can continue to ramp up and be aggressive, so that, you know, even as a tension bow maybe falls off a little bit into late game, you're still doing so much damage, you're still so far ahead, it doesn't matter. Tension Bow on the Gwen is something we see played exclusively by, you know, for a long time by Druid. He probably has, on VG Pro, he probably has 60 Gwen games in the last 2 months, all Tension Bow. So this is something that a lot of guys now with these API sites to be able to go and watch the competitive play, been able to go and watch Druid play his ranked matches. And, you know, he varies between a few heroes here and there, but he's been religiously playing this Tension Bow Gwen, and we've seen it finally adopted here in North America.
Well, maybe a month from now, people will be like, "Why aren't you playing Tension Bow Gwen? Like, what are you doing?" Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Game number 2 starting. We're getting into the draft, so I'm going to kick it over to you guys to get right into it and break it all down.
And do you know what I'll say to that? Those question marks. I will say we came up with it first. Me and Forecourt, Prevailers. We saw it first here in VIS. Gwen with the Tension Bow first time. No, we won't. Let's be fair. It's probably been played in solo queue a lot more than I've seen at least. But Vox is going to be the pickup for Arden. Deciding, you know what? We're going to take that pick and we're going to make it work, but we're going to make it, work a little better this time. However, to respond, we have McShee picking up the Adagio for his team.
All right, so yeah, the Adagio with the Lyra out and the Vox as a priority pick here. So we'll have to see what I Love Phantom Zero can do with that Vox, why it is that first pick potential, but that doesn't stop us from picking up a Glaive here with the Fox. So McShee on Adagio, definitely something of the past, but Fuji at the same time could flex it. Fuji could even be doing this, Captain Glaive. There's a lot of freedom for that last pickup here from the Fox.
Yeah, it really is. And should we just quickly mention Arden batting away the Lance? I think we all knew it was coming. Come on.
Yeah.
And Lyra being banned away. Oh, yeah. It's just like, okay, you know what? We've had enough getting impaled. Let's just get it off the table. Doesn't like Maurice is actually going to pick up the Finn for himself, but in the lane now, or in the jungle, we've seen it flex to both. Fasten is going to pick up the Celeste.
Okay, so this is a Fuji flicker. Yeah, this is a Fuji.
Fuji flicker.
The flicker G? The
flicker G.
It just doesn't work with the G. But again, early aggression. So McShee in lane is going to be a Crystal. This is a weapon Glaive. And a weapon Glaive, sometimes a lot of people don't really give it enough due, but with a flicker to go with it, I think this could be pretty devastating early on. Now, at the same time, you got a Celeste that's really good for kind of some of that counter aggro, that counter aggression, because you have the core collapse. You can put it at your feet, you can just put it in front of you, you can use it offensively or defensively. And of course, the Finn is the father of all defensive captains on this one. So big aggression against big defense. This will be interesting.
Yeah, yes, it will. I'm always scared of Flicker, that's for sure, because whenever she pops the ult, it's like, yeah, right, where have they all gone? Come on, get the flares, please. I mean, Contraption is something we've seen against Flicker first item. I'm kind of curious if they do want to do that. Maurice actually wandering into the bush. Fox going fairly aggressive here. Echo Fox might just find first blood already. They do indeed. And McShee, with his hands on that one already, will just have a nice little bit of a gold in his back pocket. And in fact, Arthman is going to get used by Lone Delphi. Fast in the wrong side, wrong place, wrong time. Echo Fox pick up another kill. And guess who that has gone on to? It's gone on to McShee.
All right, so double kill early on for McShee. He's now going to start cleaning out this jungle with Lone Delphi, and at the same time, Fuji should be able to just take care of lane if it does push in too hard. He also should be able to pick up some of these last hits that his laner would not otherwise be able to do. So the early stealth worked out fantastic there. The boots first into the flicker, get into the bush. He's invis, he's scouted out. Maurice de Beast was just absolutely nowhere close, and by the time he does get into that final face check, he's just dead.
Oh, Fuji going fairly aggressive as well. Phantom Zero is going to have to be a little careful. Going to have to back off here fairly quickly. McShee did want to trade up a fair bit of that damage. I can't think of anything more scary right now than an Adagio with 2 kills in the early game and already on his way to an alternating current. Lone Delphi maybe looking for something here. Afterburn is available from him, and already Echo Fox just piling on this pressure here for Core, just making sure they use this early game advantages that they've acquired to such good effect.
It's not quite. No, it is actually over 1,000 gold now. Wow. All right, we need to step up a little bit here from Arden, but a lot of that gold is centered on McShee. He's about 600-700 gold above I Love Phantom Zero. It's about 200 or so to the junglers, as you can see him skirmishing again.
Well, speaking of junglers, Fasten's in a lot of trouble here. Fuji's found in that purple mist is just going to help secure the kill. Lone Delphi is going to have to back off here. Maurice, he has a choice. Does he go after Fuji? He's going to go instantly in stealth, uses the quibble, does end up missing. He's got a little happy feet. Fuji is going to get the recall off as well, I can imagine. Just goes actually back into stealth and back into the lane.
Yeah, and well, they're not going to get a kill on top of Phantom Zero, but again, everything just really coming out of Echo Fox at this point. 3-0 early on. Let's call it a K.5 between them, and that's going to just accelerate the farm a lot here. So make sure he's going to come back. He's already done that buy, and like Phantom Zero, once Once he pushes up, it is really recommended he goes to buy, because if he stays in this lane with such a power difference, he is very liable for a death.
Yeah, that he is. I mean, Alternating Current is going to be on the way shortly. McShee is probably going to be able to get that around the 4-minute mark, I can imagine. I mean, Echo Fox, they've looked strong in game number 1, but game number 2 already coming out with a massive bang. I mean, Arden, what can they do really now full court to actually pull this one back off this early game deficit?
Well, the surprise factor's done, but these invades are not treating them well.
Well, they could also stop dying. I mean, that's also another thing. Echo Fox finding another kill here. Fuji actually just going to trade up a lot of this damage. Fantasy Zero is going to have to back off it fairly quickly, although Tree were doing a fair bit to actually Fuji in the front line, who maybe stepped a little bit too far. Or, however, Fox in the early game, not too strong without a Sora Blade. Isn't going to be able to do any more damage. McShee as well, going to have the heals. It's going to keep Fuji alive.
I love Fantazero might want to consider double dipping. Like, he can push up the lane, no problem, especially if they know that there's an invade going on here from the Echo Fox. If he pushes up lane, comes back, retreats, and kind of regroups here with Fast and Marista Beast there in the jungle, not only will he pick up a little bit of extra experience in the ambient gold game, but at the same time, there'll be 3 together, right? There's no longer going to be any kind of number disparities. And that might actually be able to bring the Vox into fighting shape, but at the same time, Fasten is looking a little bit worse for wear. Marista Beast, you can see he's kind of scouting ahead, right? He's putting down the traps. He's making sure that he's in front of his carries now there as well. That vision game is going to be very crucial to kind of stopping out Flicker and the whole invade early thing, because there's going to be just more of it to come.
Oh yes, more Flicker, more fun as the level 6 will approach very, very soon. I mean, Maurice right now, he can go for that contraption. I mean, Fox, they are looking for another cheeky engage here. They do end up getting polite companied. 4 or 5 HP is going to keep Maurice fairly safe. Quibble actually onto 2 members. It's going to hurt a fair bit. Lone Deathly's actually just going to decide to back off towards the jungle of Arden. Not really too much impact. Fasten hasn't really done all too much thus far in the game. I mean, he is a Kestrel man, and Celeste even, and he will have to just scale up.
All right, so McShee pushes in, no problem. Now it's the Fox just kind of getting together as 3, and Fasten is just going to have to give this up. Like, there's not a big, solid 3-man grouping here from Arden, so they just kind of have to, take a really big deficit when it comes to these objectives.
Oh yes, they will. And do you think it's a case again of Arden just kind of having to wait for Fox to engage on them and then re-engaging? Because realistically, apart from the forced accord coming out from Maurice, they've got no way to actually engage and force a fight, rather just kind of sit back and poke with the Celeste, with the Vox. And then you again look on the side of Echo Fox, and they have Lone Delphi, that massive engage with the Flicker Ultimate as well, which is coming online very, very shortly. I mean, it's just all trumps for Echo Fox right now.
Well, once level 6 does come online, the comp here from Arden becomes a little bit better, because they have a nice combo. If they can get off that forced accord, that's going to be into the names escape me off the top of my head. The stun from Fasten, right? Core collapse. There we go. You get the anchor into core collapse, then you can follow that up with the Quibble. You can follow up with the silence, like whatever you want, right? But that is going to be one of the big all-star combos here from these guys. But to get that going, they're going to need to be all 3 together, which means that, again, like, even with these invades, I don't think there's really much they can do against this Fox invades this early on. They just need to weather the storm a bit. They need to push up the lane. They need to get together as 3 earlier so that they can contest any kind of deep invade. And at the same time, once they get this level 6s, maybe then they can start fighting back. Because the early game damage has already propelled the Fox just way too far forward. Like, there's no recovering here until you can get those power spikes online, and we're not that far from it here, because Marista Beast, he has the fountain, he's ready to go. Once he hits that level 6, you pull someone under the turret, you pull him to a Crystal Sentry, you try to even the odds. And until then, Arden just needs to make sure they don't die.
Yeah, well, what you're saying there is just deliver, literally hand deliver the whole of Echo Fox to Arden, to Fasten more likely.
You just need one guy.
Or one dude, yeah.
One hook, one stun on one of these Echo Fox members, and you can start turning things around.
Could be that one kill there after. McShee doing a fair bit of work to Maurice there. 4-5 health speed isn't going to be enough for him. Core Collapse is going to get blocked up there. Really, really fast fingers on Mixi. Didn't want to get aggressed on thus far. And definitely, in fact, has actually found himself in the must-have pushes. We're in a 1v3 situation, although level 7 to a level 5 and 2 level 6s, although level 7 just hit by Fasten there. Is not something where they want to be. And Lone Delphi, by the way, let's just mention this guy real quick. Look at the CS differential between him and Fasten right now, as they do end up taking the gold mine, and they're not going to retreat. They're not going to give that one up, as we did see earlier today.
That was a nice solar storm going through, though. Like, everybody on the Fox is low. I'm a little surprised we're not trying to push our advantage here from Ardent, but Maurice Sabisi's online. He has 6. If they knew that there was a flicker there, could it be a very different story, but that stealth is OP ult. They know now, but no, I think their positioning is just going to retreat, go back to farm at this point, and just continue on from here. 4,000 gold down, 4 kills deficit here on top of things, but Ardents, they've stopped more or less dying. They're down to 1 every 2 minutes instead of 1 a minute now, and I just have to see if they can pull off a combo, because that's going to be the start of the comeback. If they can't pull it off, or they just keep getting pulled into fights on Echo Fox's terms, then this early game lead is probably just going to widen, to be honest.
Forecourt, you're looking at the bright side there. They haven't died every single minute of the game, which is the most important thing. Just making sure you keep those deaths down. And maybe one of the strengths of their composition, when you look at this kind of play that they want to make, force to core into core collapse, that they need to kind of weather this storm like you were mentioning earlier, and just wait for that prime time, and yes, give up some of the early game, because you're going to kind of lose it on the lose against this flicker, and especially against this Adagio, who had those 2 early kills.
Okay, Fuji's found Fasten.
Well, maybe he's found him. We'll see. Core Collapse does come through. He's going to save him a little bit, but in fact, Mixi just decides he's going to send him straight back to the base. Maurice as well. Oh my goodness, there wasn't really anything he could really do. Fuji's going to be able to secure that kill, and it's just a little bit anticlimactic right now, as Echo Fox are just completely catching Arden off guard.
Yeah, Arden is not making a dent on top of this tempo at all. Like, that was an Echo Fox invade. They found the 2v3. I Love Fanta Zero is just still up in that lane. Fuji's even pushing him off at this point, because that is now going to be a secured turret on top of that. But even with that force to core, like, Marista Beast did a great save on top of Fasten. Unfortunately, it was just 2v3. The positioning was awkward, and it wasn't on their terms. And that's the big thing. Like, as long as Echo Fox continues to control this momentum, everything is going to be to the beat of their drum, and Ardents need to try to disrupt that. Unfortunately, a 2v3 situation is not how you need to do it.
Oh boy, they're definitely trying to catch someone out here. They're going to jump straight into Fasten. Fasten didn't stand a chance. I didn't even see his body hit the ground, I'm going to be honest with you, Forecourt. Arden find themselves racking up another death, unfortunately, with Fasten falling in this early stage. Well, not early stage anymore. We're past the 10-minute mark. I mean, this Celeste pick has just really not worked out well for them. I think maybe picking an earlier game hero at this point, not waiting for that scaling Vox, that scaling Celeste to kind of come into play.
Well, in our pre-conversation, I expected to see an aggressive comp. They're definitely delivering here from Echo Fox. Celeste will take a while to ramp up. The big thing that she brings to the early game, though, is that core collapse, and it's just not been effective. And that last gank on now the 0-5 Celeste, those are some fun things you can do with Mooncloak, especially if you don't have the traps down. And, Maurice DeBeast, he's trying. He's got into that contraption now. He had the flare gun for a while, but contraption at the 11-minute mark, it might be a little too late.
Maybe so. Maurice is going to have to back off here. Oh my goodness, Fasten just ends up in the middle of Echo Fox, ends up falling as well. Triple Silence does come out for the side of Arden, but it's not going to matter at all, as they are just going to dive straight under this turret. Another Afterburn does come out, and Maurice ends up falling as well. Mixi just healing up a lot of that damage that was actually taken by that turret. Ace comes through as well. Echo Fox really looking on the ball right now. 10 minutes. That's almost a kill a minute thus far, with a very respectable gold lead, about 8k right now.
Yeah, that poor average of once every 2 minutes is now almost back up to a kill a minute. And another turret, yeah, no problem. Steal with these backs, cool. Where's that Crystal Sentry? It's not even spawned yet, so can't go for that quite yet. But Ardent's vulnerable at this point. Yeah, we have that contraption, but unless you have some kind of sixth sense of where that flicker could be, it might as well just be a potato.
Well, I'm not sure it would be that useless. I mean, you've still got flares in it, right? I mean, it's not going to be as useful. I mean,
you're right. Yeah.
exactly. So maybe not a potato, but Mooncloak is going to get used once more.
Noticed. Oh gosh.
Oh goodness. Yes, they have been noticed. They know exactly what's happening. Hello, out of nowhere. Good night as well. Fantasy Zero is just trying to kite away, but Fast ends up falling in the first casualty of the fight. Maurice gets a triple quibble. That's a lot of damage actually. Phantom counting back here. Echo Fox, they may have found themselves a fight they can lose, although Fuji is going to fall eventually. Fanta is going to be able to pick up the kill. Lone Delphi is running away. Does manage to get out of the way of that polite company, but Maurice is going to want to chase up this, and that was a fight that went in Arden's way, and I got to say, I'm surprised.
So I'm not entirely too sure who really is to blame on the Echo Fox part of that one, but it felt like they thought they had killed off Fox. Like, they unloaded so much damage on him, and then they turned around and try to gang up on Finn. But, you know, I Love Fanta Zero was still right there, happy to take the kills. So I don't think we're going to see a flashy play like that again coming from Echo Fox. Now that that has failed, I think they are going to just reevaluate a little bit, make sure they can get control of the lead again with an Iron Fist, because that was a cool looking play, but did not work out for them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they mooncloaked behind them. That was the thing, and Arden kind of knew where they were, and then they funneled them through this brush, got a triple silence as well. So I think that was really kind of impactful in that fight, that it may have been missed in the spectator. But Echo Fox, yeah, maybe they won't make that kind of slip up again, because especially giving someone like Fanta Zero the kills as well is going to be very, very painful for them, because his ability to kite around these fights is going to be apparent soon. Soulstorm does come through, does not end up taking the gold miner. That will be secured by Fuji.
It was a try. Yeah, it was a try. You have to try with that kind of stuff. You're going to eat a pretty hefty cooldown for it, but you know, the risk versus reward, you can always play a little bit more passive for the next 30 seconds, but the reward could have been real big on that one. Look at the scout traps! Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, Flicker, shame on you. Yeah, you're not fooling me again. They have traps everywhere now. Maurice has finally found himself a solid base for these ganks.
Yep, chickenpox. That is what the map looks like right now on the side of Ardent Esports. They have got traps absolutely everywhere. I'm not even kidding. Like, Fox steps in one bush, done. They step on a scout trap and another one.
That's what you need to do against a Flicker. It's what you need to do against a Taka. Like, anything with a stealth component, this is how you counter it. But 15 minutes in, and you know, we're still looking at third item for Maurice. I don't know if this is enough.
Mooncloak is going to come out, forced to coordinate. In fact, a quibble was used. And Fox is like they want to back off here. Reckon Fox don't really want to mess with the rest of Arden. Forced to court is going to get blocked. Nice fast fingers on Lone Delphi there to block that one away. Not too much of an issue for him. Maurice still looking for something here. Polite Company just try and drag someone in, but Mixie is not stepping anywhere near that mustache brush. Alright, that Panther is in a little bit of trouble. Forecourt, you're not going to have the chance to speak in a second. They are just going to jump straight onto Lone Delphi once more. The Soulstorm comes through, doesn't end up executing someone because Mixie is just going to heal that one up. Not too much of an issue at all. Fasten does fall as well as Fanta Zero. Maurice is soon to follow. Another kill comes through, and that'll be a double kill for Mixie. They're going to push onto this turret, and an ace once more for Echo Fox.
A little bit closer to the edge on that one, but Echo Fox with a very dominating ace. Pick up that turret, no problem. 15 minutes has passed, so Delphi, yeah, sure, no, okay, yeah, you go start off that Kraken, that's good. We'll join you in a second, but very close to losing out two members that fight there from Echo Fox. So all that advantage, all of a sudden, just kind of turning on its head. But Echo Fox, again, very commanding 3-0 kill for it. Might have been close, but hey, you got to get them dead in order to kind of get that counter. And now with the Kraken coming through, this could very well be the end of the game. We are that far ahead here from the Fox that if they have one more good engage with the Kraken pushing, that's it for the Crystal.
I think it's cool that we call him the Fox as well. The Fox. That sounds very, very cool.
I just get caught up in their clan tag.
Yeah, Fox, yeah. Same.
Foxy Fuji.
But you got, yeah, Foxy Fuji.
New skin coming your way.
Yeah. That would be funny. They win a major title, they get a Foxy Fuji. I'm sure he'd be very, very happy with that.
You'll be in the next Vainglory mail calendar.
Yeah, oh god. Please. Am I can I be January? Is that a thing?
I thought you wanted a copy.
Oh yeah, I'll have a copy too. Mooncloak is going to be used once more. Fuji actually on the back line here. Kraken is just marching on the base of Arden. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do anything whatsoever, as Fox just might take this as a 2-0. Though Delphi just trying to defend Fuji. Snowstorm comes out, only really snipes out Fuji, who will end up falling in the end. But Crystal is going to be the main target of Echo Fox. They are going to take it out eventually. 2-0 following suit today. 2-2-0s in 4 very dominant games for the winning side. And Echo Fox, I mean, they've looked dominant thus far. That was an absolutely incredibly well played game by them.
Yeah, game number 1 and game number 2, they take control early, they build early. We barely talked about the builds. We talked more about the meta and like movements and rotations and all that. But there was no tension bows, didn't need it this round. Like Fuji was able to set up just so much. I'm fairly sure that Flicker still has the biggest slow in the game. That means Vixie doesn't really have to worry about that kind of thing, right? He just builds into the damage. He went from the alternating current into the shattered glass into that broken myth by the end of it. I mean, this is damage for days. Fuji's right there in the middle of everything. That's the Agent of Fire delivery system. And Lone Delphi just, normal build kind of for him. Well, for a weapon glaive, I should say. You go into this attack speed, you pick up that Sorrow Blade, he goes for the crit, so he can have crit on his crit, and worked out really well. Nice and just very solid games, very solid momentum generated from these guys.
Yeah, guys, absolutely. And boy, can we talk a little bit, just a tad here, about how Echo Fox approached the start of this game? Never have I ever seen the first 20 seconds of the game matter so much. Because I gotta say, when you watch this draft unfold, when you see what Ardent brings, they bring a very strong late game comp. I mean, and not late game. We're talking about, you get past 15 minutes here, and you're starting to see these heroes turn on. You're starting to see Vox when he gets the 3 items. You're starting to see Celeste really pack the punch. And Echo Fox identified that right away, and they buy tier 1 boots across the board. First purchase in there, race in and dominate and create a 1,000 gold lead within the first 2 minutes. And that was absolutely pivotal. You guys saw it, right? Like, as soon as Ardent started to get to that point, they had the incredible CC, they had a silence, they had a lot of damage, and they also could scale late into the fights if you didn't take them out right away. And they had that sustain, and Finn gives you that. And the double stun that you got from the Core Collapse and the Polite Company really started to wreak havoc on Echo Fox. I have to imagine Fuji, he identified that. He said, guys, we've got to win this early game or this is actually going to hurt. And they made probably the most aggressive early game composition. Surprising. I think it's one of those things that you don't surprise teams very often with that. But because they were there so fast, they were able to get the jump onto Ardent.
They were just all over the map. They had a lot of scouting done. Like, Fuji was always checking out bushes. I mean, not only will he get stealth, but he'll pop any traps that were there. And it just took too long for Maurice de Beast to kind of get some of that vision out there, right? And to be fair, like, those first 2 Mooncloak ganks were pretty spectacular. I'm not even sure I could have predicted, like, some of the angles that they're coming in on. Just like, all of a sudden, boosh, they're behind me, but my turrets are back that way. It's unfortunate for them. Yeah, you just die from there. But by the time they did get to that contraption, unfortunately, that's all he had. Like, they were so far behind that Maurice de Beast had Fountain into Contraption. That was it. There's no Atlas Pauldrons, which would have been great for the Glaive. There was no Crucibles, which would have been great up against, Mixie or Glaive or Flicker, just anybody, right? The priority to keep Fuji at bay took precedence, and unfortunately, I'm not entirely too sure it was the right decision. I'm not sure it was the wrong decision, but it was definitely the decision they went with, and unfortunately, Fuji was able to still play around it pretty well.
Yeah, that decision's one of those where it's the right decision a little too late. They lost the early lead, and they struggled so much. We actually saw Fasten have to buy scout traps. When your carry is buying scout traps, it's because you are in some serious bad positioning and bad part of the game. I mean, you're not doing so well, and they had to. It actually almost played off. The biggest thing that they could not let is to have Echo Fox get the jump on them, and they made the right call there. They actually won a team fight, and almost ace because of that decision to buy those visions, to just to really aggressively approach it. Actually, it's a real shame we don't see more teams do this. We see a lot of pressure put on the support, like, hey, you're not buying enough vision, you need to buy more vision. And really, if you've got a character like a Taco or a Flicker who's reeking through your jungle and eliminating, tripping your vision, you just can't put enough vision down, and it's unfair to expect your support to do that by himself. I actually like what Arden did to help their support to get that vision laid down. The problem was it was the right call. Too late. They weren't able to deal with the amount of the gold lead, even with that almost near ace. You still had Echo Fox up by 8,000 or 9,000 gold, and then Echo Fox learning from that, we saw them not being as aggressive, actually trying to bait out that core collapse. That core collapse was what helped win them that first team fight for Arden. I mean, it double stunned both carries. You're going to get a good jump start on a fight that way, even if you're behind in golden levels. But it looks like Echo Fox made the corrections they needed to once they realized they were going to start, going up against a much stronger output of damage, and they ended up winning the game.
Well, I'm not going to harp on it too much, but that one fight that Arden almost won, it's simply because they just ignored the Vox. Like, they brought him down to half, and then they all turned around to jump on top of the Finn. So again, like, I got to watch it not only in the game, but then on the 3-minute delay replay. So I don't know really what happened at the communication on that one. But again, like, Fox just bounced back. They took control. They did not a flashy play, but they did an effective play, and they're able to win it out.
Yeah, well, and honestly, it's really important to mention just solid support play. Fuji's got to be, from these two games, if any indication, is one of these great new supports hitting the meta, because he was just absolutely, like, crucibling forced accords without an issue. Fountains were, we didn't see any major issues on Fountains, positioning, shot calling. That's all you really need. Those are the key ingredients of a good support, and he's really helping his team lead to victory. We're going to take a quick break, everybody, as we get ready for our next matchup. We're going to be jumping down to the elimination round as we look to see the winner of Team Silly versus NRG take on their next opponent in just a few minutes. You're not going to want to miss it, guys. This is the round where everyone gets eliminated. Just a side note, though, with this victory, Echo Fox does qualify for the playoffs. So they are in. They are number 1 seed, going right in without a single lost series. And they have to feel pretty good about that, guys. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, everybody. We'll be right back.
Oh, sorry, Dragon. I'm sorry.
No. I wanted to throw in the fact that they got qualified.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, we are back. A little bit longer break than I think we anticipated. Sorry about that. As we get everything ready for this next series, we are jumping down to the elimination round. And so it is going to be very, very exciting. We had to wait for a few matches to wrap up as we get the results. So I'm, of course, joined by Forecourt Jester and Jaws as we get late into the night here with our final matches, our final series coming up. This one, though, guys, this one is going to be exciting because this is an elimination one. So the team that loses, they go home. So a lot of pressure, a lot of line. But Team Enforcers, a number 4 seed, brand new roster. They've been playing really, really well here, as I do have that mixed up there, so let me fix that. Playing really well with Silly Afro, Archaic, kind of this duo that's been together for so long, really, consistently playing together and changing from team to team. They're going up against the 12 seed NRG, who has recently added Saints to their roster, looking to try to mix things up, looking to maybe, push things. Actually, I'm looking, Chombo, Believe, and Saints are playing. It looks like Hardek's not playing in this game, so big change on NRG's side. A lot could really happen here, guys.
It really could. I see Chombo. So, I mean, there's a name that I can definitely, get into. But, yeah, Believe and Saints are here in-game with him.
Well, Believe's Gaspy, so...
Oh, right, yeah. Gaspy, yeah, I remember that. But don't tell me that Hardek's name is Saints now.
No, Hardek is not playing. Saints did come over to NRG. He was actually playing with Silly Afro and Archaic in a previous team last split. They didn't, there's some technical issues there on that side. We won't go into it, but he actually got picked up by NRG to kind of play alongside this roster. And so it looks like NRG, at least for the first time on stream, is going to be playing with a brand new modification to their roster, one that we have not seen yet.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes through. Team Energy, though, okay. I'm not entirely too sure you put those in on the overlay correctly, but either way, Team Enforcers is a name.
I fixed it. It gets fixed, yeah.
No worries. Team Enforcers, though, like, who goes home is going to be very strange, because Enforcers has been a team that has been consistently in the top parts of the draft. Maybe not a top 3 situation consistently, but I'm pretty sure that, they hit top 8 almost every time we have a challenger split. So Energy coming in then as well, they have been really trying to battle it out, looking for that in to the VG8 this split. Didn't happen. Split 1. Very curious to see if they might be cut short here in split 2, because that was a big sponsor pickup. If it doesn't pay off, then it's just bad news.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, it happens. You really want to try to make sure that you can pull from these other teams, from these other, really great free agents here in the Challenger Series. The Challenger Series, guys, is that place to grow. It's that place to build out your team, to start to reform so you can go up against these Vainglory teams, these powerhouse teams already competing at the highest level. And so, it's really important for these teams to focus on that, to, not be afraid to change things up and to get ready to play, against these top elite teams. It looks like we're ready to go. All the players are in. So we are going to start the draft here and get right into game number 1. I'm really excited to see this for 2 reasons. One, I really want to see how Energy does. I'm actually excited to see a change in the rosters, only because I think sometimes you really figure out who you are with some of these changes. But I really think Enforcers, they have an opportunity, because even though they got knocked down to the loser bracket really early on, they're seeding, the players on this team have an opportunity to show that they really deserve that 4 seed title.
Well, we'll see. Like, in a winner takes all kind of gambit, you could be pulling out some interesting strats. You might just go meta. You might just try to win the game as quick as you can, get the stress over and done with. But yeah, somebody's going home, and both teams definitely top 8 worthy. Just, it's one of them have to make that exit. This isn't a Care Bear tournament.
Yeah, well, we're going to get right into it now then. Kick it over to you and Jaws to get us into the draft. What do we got so far?
Thank you very much. Yeah, Enforcers already burning away the Alpha, decide they don't want to deal with that whatsoever, and NRG taking the standard route, I think you could say, Forecourt, banning away the Adagio.
Definitely standard. Leaves a Lyra open. Not a lot of Fortress tonight, but a lot of Lance, a lot of Glaive, and we'll have to see who gets paired off with it.
That we will. I mean, we've seen a lot of Chombo on Arden, so I can imagine that's going to be a fairly high priority pick for them. And Finn is actually going to be the pick up here from Enforcers. What would you like NRG to actually just pick up here?
Well, the Finn, just like what we saw last round, he does take a while to come online. He can be susceptible early game. He's big, he's slow, he's not very mobile, right? So with a Finn on your side, unless you're going to just send the jungler straight in for any invades, you're likely to be looking at a passive game here from Enforcers. So something early, mix it up. Just look for an invade, look for that aggression. And Lyra Gwen, I mean, if this is going to be more of this tension bow variety that we've been seeing all night, pair it up with that Lyra. Like, you're going to be pushing early, you're going to be harassing early, and that's going to be keeping Enforcers a little bit more, kind of centered around that Finn and defensive.
The question is, will we see 100% Gwen win rate this evening? That's something I'm looking forward to seeing, as Believe is going to take that one. Ola, however, is going to take the Vox, a very more standard matchup, apparently. We've developed our own little meta forecourt, or a little meta of Vox Gwen in the lane today. Yeah. But with that Vox, kind of that scaling Vox, I can imagine we're going to see Tension both first. Actually, Samuel, our first appearance of the day, is going to get picked up for Team Enforcers now.
Well, if there's going to be a little bit of jungle action, I'm still maintaining that it's going to be on NRG to do the invades. Samuel pushing forward doesn't really give me a ton of confidence, especially if he's going to be by himself. But if he does get invaded himself, especially past level 2, he'll have that Drifting Dark, he'll have the kite ability. You might even see him come up to that lane gank a little bit, because he will have that range with the Malice and Verdict. But Fortress is going to be the final pickup there from NRG, so it's very likely going to be that Captain Lyra, a jungle Fortress. And this is high burst. This is early game high burst, especially whoever Fortress gets his jaws into that, right? You explode that percentage damage. He gives the team movement speed. So between Saints and Believe at this point, they can probably look to blow somebody up even before level 6.
Yeah, I can imagine we will see that. I mean, we've seen it thus far, right? Like, that tension bench does so much work, and we do jump into game number 1, Team Enforcers versus NRG, and best of 3 scenario as well. And we've seen 2 2-0s, and quick 2-0s, if I may add that as well.
Yeah, did we see a game go into the 20-minute mark? Maybe one of them, but we've also seen a 10-minute win as well. So evens out pretty decently. Call it an average of 15 per game tonight. It was the Echo Fox, actually, that had more trouble in the series before they got onto the stream, because that was a 2-1 up against the Sillies.
Yeah, that it was. NRG just now pushing forward into Enforcers jungle, taking away one of those front camps at least. And they are going to rotate towards this bottom side as well. Elder Triant being available to them. And really no contention here from Enforcers actually deciding, you know what, we prefer lane priority thus far.
Yeah, and again, I would not expect these guys to go aggressive early. Like, the Finn doesn't have the movement speed. The Samuel, I just don't really feel is that early game solo gank ability. And if you put a Finn in the enemy jungle, it's a long way to get home to safety. And he's big and slow and slowable. So, yeah, NRG should be fairly safe and secure in their early game here, as long as they don't get pushed in too hard and they don't miss too much CC. They are going to be right there on par, if not better, than their opponents.
Oh man, Saints missed a couple of CS under his tower. I was watching them, I was like, is he going to get it? Is he going to get it? Is he going to get it? That's always my problem. Oh man, nah. Saints, he's only missed a couple, he's still good. It's just under the turret, it can be fairly difficult thus. Sometimes, we've all been there. We've all been there full court when we're sitting there just tapping away, and CS just kind of slips through your fingers. Probably me more than them, that is for sure. That's why they're in this position right now. But Ola is kind of being a little bit more safe on this Vox. And I can imagine this is going to be more of a slower start to the game until Saints picks up that tension bow.
If he goes for the tension bow. If it's not going to be a tension bow, then we're probably going to be looking for something closer to mid-game, past the level 6 mark. And I'm really going to be keeping an eye on Believe, because I'm 100% sure he's going to go into the Aftershock. I'm just not entirely convinced that he's going to be going into a Stormcrown.
Yeah, and no massive CCs at the moment in the early game. Will just make sure that Enforcers and NRG don't butt heads all too early, and I think that's going to be kind of the main story. At least there's just no big CC apart from Oblivion and apart from Force to Core, but they are really around the level 6 mark. And the problem is, if you do miss one of those, obviously the other team can just kind of kite you out.
There's a lot of wind-up CC here for Enforcers. Like, the wait for it has a very obvious animation. The anchor has a good little window that you can block it out on. And the Oblivion, like, you can hear it, you can see it. It's going to be coming through. We'll have to see if any of it lands.
Well, Drifting Dark is going to come through. Energy taking a lot of damage, actually. They're going to have to back off. Saints falls, though. Believe is going to have to start believing in his own life right now. Hang on a second. NRG just get completely ace. And it's only been 3 minutes.
Yeah, don't do what we've been talking about until you get those items. Like, you get the tension bow. Get that aftershock off the ground. If you want to go for the crown, and we do got that banner there, that's fine. But if you want to do this, you need to blow somebody up, because when you jump right into a Finn like that, you saw it, right? Polite Company brings them all together. The Quibble has some pretty hefty damage. And again, like the Samuel level 2, well, he wasn't level 2 there, he was level 4, but the idea is still the same. Such big AoE damage. He has long range with the Malice and Verdict, and they were all clumped up. Like, that was just almost a wet dream right there for Enforcers. Like, they had such a good bunch, and the area of effect damage spread out so very quickly.
Well, that is definitely an analogy I've never really heard on the cast before, so thank you for that one. NRG is falling a little bit on the back foot right now. 2k gold lead in Enforcer's pocket. With that ace buff as well, they just took the turret. They just took first hit at 3 minutes in the game, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think that's the fastest even turret I've seen in the VIS so far. Very, very pedal to the metal, if you will, from Team Enforcers.
Fastest turret I ever saw was Evil 8 with a Saw push comp. It was, I think, Minion Candy, Saw, and Koshka, and they took a turret at 56 seconds.
56 seconds.
That was a long time ago, Joss.
Wow.
don't expect that any time soon. In fact, Saw,
I
still think
that.
0% play rate in NA, or at least 0% win rate. Let me put it that way.
We've had one, and it was with a Kestrel.
Okay.
Not in NA. I'm not sure if it was NA. I'll have to recheck my facts. I've got a little book somewhere with all the notes and stuff down. But yeah. The Saw and the Kestrel, and it was just a ridiculous amount of pushing power, and they did take it very quickly. Not 56 seconds quick, though. That is a little bit unheard of, I think.
Yeah, well, they died shortly after that, but hey, they got the turret. So.
Yeah, double kill goes with the enemy team. We got the turret, though. It's all good.
Enforcers feeling good here. They're bunched up. They're pushing forward. They're playing around their Finn.
Yeah, that they are, and with Finn as well, just almost hitting the level 6, all of them level 5 at this current time. Not something we actually usually see, mind you. I mean, the level disparity is in favour of the junglers and the carry role. Believe he's going to jump in, do a little bit of damage. Quibble is going to kind of push him back, though. But the Sigil is going to heal him up as well quite nicely. And the only thing I can see here that NRG have that Enforcers don't is going to be this Lyra heal and sustain. But Saints, I think he's definitely going to need it after that chunk of damage.
Alright, so through the lane to get the damage, to get that Trin in.
Oblivion! Oh, just get blocked by Saints. Drifting Dark's coming over the wall as well. It's doing a fair bit of damage. Arc is doing a fair bit of work to this turret as well. Enforcers, they're enforcing their firm grasp on the fold right now, and their firm leaders also to boot. NRG, a little bit of trouble. That turret is going to fall very, very shortly, and in fact, I think they're just going to have to back off at this point. It's just falling way too quickly for them to even just deal with, and that'll be another turret down. 6 minutes, 20 seconds in the game. Team Enforcers with a 3k gold lead.
Yeah, that's a pretty good place to sit. 2 turrets down this early on is just such safety removed from energy, right? Like, if they want to push out the lane, if they want to go into their jungle, they have very little to fall back to. It's just this choke point turret, which means that you can really abuse this now as Enforcers. Like, they have really turned the tide. We're not going for all that early game stuff. Like, look at Saints, right? No tension bow there. He went into the Sorrow Blade. So that means Believe he's not rushing into that aftershock. And I really feel like a little bit more of a missed opportunity there to try to make that work. It's been having a lot of success this patch, but now aiming for the mid game while behind a good bit here at the 7-minute mark. I'm not entirely too sure that they're going to be able to play catch up. We'll have to see what kind of combos come through, but now that it's level 6 here on top of Afro, like it's really just an Enforcer map.
Yeah, Enforcer. Yeah, definitely Enforcer map. NRG need to kind of put the brakes on Enforcer's car right now, because otherwise they're just going to get kind of steamrolled. I think that's exactly what we've seen in the last 2 best of 3s here, full court. Just the slow, methodical game, looking for pick after pick after pick. And yes, these 2 compositions are very, very different from what we've seen earlier on today, with more focus on heavy CC. But Enforcers making it work very well, and with that Oblivion up and the Force to Call available too, that's going to be very hard for actually NRG to deal with.
Yeah, and again, like Enforcers could really start abusing this this early game and just limiting the amount of farm that gets into energy, right? If they go in, they camp out the jungle, if they pick up a whole bunch of scout traps, they put them down, there's really not much energy you can do about it right now because they're just that far behind. And again, energy playing this far forward from an existing turret means that there's a lot of chaseability now available here to the Enforcers as well.
There is, and Playboy Afro did look like he was looking for something. He was kind of walking forward, edging forward. Did fakey the recall as well. Not looking for Force to Call just yet, as the Crucible obviously was available for Chombo. Very smart pick up first. Didn't even... Oh, he did go into the fountain first. Crystal Sentry is going to go down, though. And Enforcer's taking that one off the board. And as soon as they get these two more, man, like, it's going to be so painful for NRG, and they're really going to need to start getting vision down.
Right, so... again, it's just the Enforcers map. Like, they're able to pick up way more farm much more quickly at this point. Energy really is going to be stuck in this turtle position. They're not going to be able to contest gold mines. They're not going to be able to contest Krakens for a little bit. Not that Kraken is even really a worry yet. 6 minutes to go, and they're already so bottlenecked at this point here, Jaws. Unless there's some kind of catastrophic fail, as long as Enforcers keeps a slow and steady rate, they're just going to snowball this into oblivion.
Yeah, they really will. And talking about Oblivion, it's available right now for the Samuel. Playboy Afro looking for something here. Maybe a Force to Call over the wall. And there we go. You can see the vision coming down through for NRG. And that's exactly what they need to do, I think. Just making sure they know exactly where this Finn is at every point in the game. Because, like you mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter who you catch off. As long as you catch off 1-2 members and hand deliver it to the rest of your team. If you take that out, 2v3 situation, much more difficult for the defending team.
Come on, can they not see that scout trap there?
I know, right? It was like all punching around,
it.
like,
yeah. This is what I mean. You throw down the traps, you remove vision, you get your own vision. They're great early warning security systems, and you might be able to catch somebody with it. But all right, so let's take a gold miner instead. I've been looking at the farm here, Jaws, trying to figure out like where a lot of this farm is landing, and it looks like that Archaic actually opting to not take really any last hits. He's been getting a lot of ambient gold gain, and he just hit 2 item spike now. If you compare then Vox compared to Saints at this point, I mean, you're looking at 20-25 CS difference. That's where a lot of these last hits are landing.
I mean, yeah, just kind of pushing everything into Ola is kind of working at this moment. I mean, Archaic, he has got the Frostbite, he has got the Broken Myth, so he's going to be doing an absolute whale of damage, but I mean, making sure it's getting on to your lane carry is very important, especially if someone like a Vox has actually picked up the Tornado trigger here as well.
Yeah, so they kind of funneled a lot of the farm into Hola there, and now that he's sitting on 3 item, because he has the Monaco, he has that Sora, he has the Tornado trigger, now we've finally started funneling it back into Archaic. So if he gets into that 3 items there as well, again, the difference is very palpable, because Believe just hit 2 items very shortly ago, and Saints, well, he's still struggling for a 3rd. So if you're struggling for 3 versus a solid 3, then again, very big power difference.
Yeah, there is. For like company is going to be used on Saints. Playboy Afro, man, this guy mind gaming them at this current time. Force to Call does come out eventually. Does end up getting bought by the Crucible. NRG just want to make sure they can push Enforcers off, but that Drifting Dark is going to heal up. Archaic. And that's going to be about it. There's a good lot of damage to turret. Enforcers are just going to have to back off here. I mean, they're realistically, they can't step up to the turret because they're that bright bulwark. Believe can jump on them as well, but Polite Company's going to come through. Jobber just gets stunned and chain CC'd. Attack of the Pack does get popped as well, but Believe just cannot follow up with any meaningful damage.
Just couldn't seem to get a reflex worth anything there. Not done
Believe.
yet.
Oh,
That's a
my
hero.
goodness. Didn't think he'd go down, but... Yeah, but hero kill and a turret destroyed as well. That will result in Enforcers not dropping a single turret or death thus far. 8k in the lead. And NRG are looking for their pen and paper. They need to note down what's gone wrong in this game.
Yeah, Sentry defeated 1 life to go, but again, it all went downhill. That 3-minute ace put these guys in the dumps, and unfortunately, they can't quite climb out of this yet. And 5-0, no turret damage really to be worried about, and nearly 10,000 gold with not even a Kraken available yet. We're at the 12-minute mark here, Jaws. When you're almost 1,000 gold per minute ahead of your opponents, it's a snowball, right? These guys are just that far ahead. So again, anything catastrophic that goes wrong might play into energy, but until that happens, they are just 100% contained.
Yeah, containment's a good word, I think. That literally contained in their base. I mean, they need to get the vision down, yes, but the problem is they do step out of line. Archaic, Oblivion, Forced Accord, etc. There's just so much follow-up that can be used. Quibble as well. It's just, as soon as one person gets caught, they're pretty much done for. They haven't got 2 Crucibles. They cannot block these multiple forms of massive CC.
Just unfortunate start for energy, and is not doing them any favors here. And enforcers have not really been making any big flashy plays, right? They take the plays that they think they can get, and to be fair, those are the plays that they have definitely solidified in. But now here comes some puppies.
Oh, some puppies do come in, but they just get disintegrated. Believe actually in the front line taking a lot of damage here as Enforcers do want to chase this one up. Saints as well just goes down instantly. Too much damage on the side of Enforcers. Passageway is going to just make sure Chombo is guided to safety, but Believe he is on the wrong side of his base. Does end up popping those boots. Might be able to just get away. Setting up a couple of scout traps as well. Ola, he's got the Sonic Zoom though, and he ends up picking up the kill. Enforcers still not giving up death, stretching the gold lead to 10,000 as well.
Just pretty masterful play. That's all this is. Like, Enforcers, they push forward. They have defeated the Sentry. They get the kills. 400 plus crits to come out of Ola. Apparently his name is Ola, not Hola. I do apologize. But and that's not even with the breaking point. Like, there's nothing being stacked here from this walk. It's all up front and big hefty damage with those crits. 400 damage crits is just not something that this team from Energy is going to be capable of defending against.
Well, Atlas Pauldron is going to get picked up from Believe, so maybe he can withstand that just a little bit more, but let's be honest, I doubt it. Yeah, that's very true. He's probably going to get 2 shot, but we'll have to wait and see if that does actually happen. Enforce, they are just pushing it towards these turrets now. And Attack of the Pack is going to get popped once more, but those puppies are going to fall rather quickly. Every board gets blocked. There's the silence coming out through from the Vox as well, but they're just going to they're going to have to satisfy with just a little bit of damage on those turrets. And I can imagine they're just going to head towards the Kraken now, as NRG, like you said, they're so contained in their base that they can't really just defend against this or even contest this Kraken.
Well, they're defending base, but it's a very sloppy kind of defense, simply because they're scrambling to live. And credit to them, Energy lived through that, right? They were able to get the defense, they're able to live, no problem. But yeah, everything else on the map is free game here from Enforcers. Multiple gold mines have gone their way, and now a little bit more with this Kraken coming through. I was looking at Playboy Afro, not Alpha, and I was like, I really hope that this guy overdrives to C. I really hope that we have this this ult ready to go, like every 5 seconds.
Well, speaking of ults, Attack of the Pack and Aces High just kind of go a little bit wide there. The Kraken's still punching people, and it's going to go down. And it's actually going to go over 2 Enforcers, as they do find 2 kills as well. Chombo and Saints just died in amongst that brush. That was kind of a messy fight, but they got there in the end. Believe is going to get chased down once more, and like you said, it's a lot of damage coming through, but Believe actually putting up a little bit of a fight there. One more auto will do it, though.
You got the
ace coming through from Enforcers. Yep. You did have the Atlas Pauldron. I was very, very worried there. I kind of held my breath a little bit, but we do manage to pick up the kill, and that'll be it. Enforcers, they're going to take game number 1 over NRG.
Oh, I mean, that first fight kind of set them up for it, and they didn't let go of the momentum. It's very much an Echo Fox kind of game from the Enforcers right here. They took a nice early advantage. They never let it go, and, well, that's a pretty darn perfect game if I have to say so myself.
Well, it's exactly perfect. Saints gets jumped on once more. Let's be fair, he wouldn't survive long at all. That Vein Crystal is going to go down to the Oblivion damage, and Enforcers are going to take this one. A perfect game coming through for them. Didn't lose a single turret, objective, or kill, or death even as well. So very, very well played from them, and they'll go 1-0 up in this series. NRG just kind of fallen by the wayside here, and there's so many just one-sided games today.
Maybe I was just kind of in the Echo Fox fever at that point. You know, it was just such early game aggression, right? We saw this comp, we said, okay, these guys can blow somebody up early. Get that aftershock, get that tension bow, jump, explode, rinse, repeat. But they pulled the trigger a little bit too early on. They got really condensed down by Finn play, and then a 3-minute ace led into a turret, led into basic domination from there. So, maybe energy, maybe they didn't mean to, really go that deep. Maybe they didn't think that they were going to do an early game comp, but if they wanted to do that, I would have wanted to see it about 2 minutes later with those first items, with those power spikes, and it could have been a very different game. But, Dragon, early game kills have dictated quite a few of our matches tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just a lot of the challenge comes when you start out of the gate early. It's really hard for these teams to figure out ways to stop the bleeding here. Enforcers, man, they came out packing a lot, a huge punch. We all know Samuel, if you let him go uncontested, even early game, those drifting darknesses with the malice and verdict will hurt. They'll hurt, and if they're landing, it's like a skill shot. But if you're landing that skill shot consistently in the early game, you take a lot of that poke damage. It's hard to kind of get around it, and we saw NRG really struggling to find the synergy in this matchup here. And looking at their composition, I don't know, when you talk about like the sustain that you're going to come from Samuel, if you want that burst heavy fortress, if you want that fortress diving in against a hero, especially even with the Vox as well, just a lot of damage up front that you have to kind of jump in. Maybe would have preferred to see a more poke heavy, a Crystal Kestrel, or someone where you could from the distance piece and poke away at this front line here with the Finn. So it didn't work out. We are going to get ready for game number 2 as we move along, because that was, although that was a quick game, it is getting pretty late here in the night. And so far, Enforcers looking about as dominant as you can ask them to look in that game. That was a very strong performance.
Move along, folks. Nothing to see here in this wreckage. Yeah, move along. Game 2, boys. Yeah, again, like early game stuff has really kind of dictated a lot of the pacing here today. And if I had to bet, we're probably going to see something of an early game comp again. Will it be Enforcers though? Will it be Energy? Maybe Energy will tone it down. Maybe look for a mid game. I don't know, but definitely the theme of the night so far has been Gwen's and early game kills leading into snowballs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been, it's a challenge. Now, of course, in this case, the Gwen, got completely shut out and didn't go with that tension bow early, right? And I think it's because they were so far behind so early. It just didn't make sense.
Okay, so game 2, Dragon, shall we?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go. I mean, we just have to switch sides here.
Maybe. I don't know. Jaws, what do you think? Based upon everything else tonight, this could be the last game of the night.
Yeah, I mean, Enforcers just look so strong coming out of the game. We've seen so many just one-sided games this evening. I can imagine it's going to go their way again. NRG really need to pull something out of the bag here. And I think it's all going to come down to the draft.
Well, we've seen alpha bans, we've seen Finn bans, alphas, yeah, Arden, no, not Ardens, Adagios, Lyra's, still alpha is going to be. So, okay, fine, rip that, Jaws.
Yep, don't know what happened there. I mean, alpha,
Nobody wants to go against the robot.
Clearly no one wants to play it. But, I mean, it's not had a win today. So, we'll see how that does end up going forward. But Darcio is going to be the ban, likewise for Enforcers. Although maybe they're changing up to the Fortress here, actually deciding not going to take that one off the board. We're just going to take that one off the board.
Well, if you ban a healer here, you're giving the other one away. So leaving them both open, you got to make a choice. But a lot of teams today have actually taken Lance first. We saw Finn first pick last round there as well. Could be looking to take the Finn away from Enforcers. That's what defeated that early game aggression from Energy last round. But with a Finn early on, I wouldn't expect them to play for something real early though.
I can't imagine they will. Chumbo is going to pick up the Finn for himself this time. And not really just kind of taking that one away from Enforcers. And I feel there are so many other strong picks that Enforcers could pick. I mean, Finn clearly a high priority on their list.
Both sides, that's 2 games first pick, but now both healers available. Will we run the double heals to try to bring Enforcers into a 2-0? It's definitely possible. The Lyra now taken. Would you put an Adagio with a Finn? I'm not entirely convinced you would. You would try to put something like a Vox with a Finn so you don't have to go against it, but now it is going to be the Vox on the other side.
Yes, it will be. And Lyra will be picked up as well. And I'm kind of curious to see what they do here. I mean, NRG, they have this Finn pick. What do you kind of build around that? Because Finn is kind of a slot-in anywhere hero, so they've kind of left themselves open to pick many things here. And they do actually decide to go with a Kestrel, in fact. So Believe is going to get his hands on that one. All Saints, I mean, you can take it to the lane as well. Something to keep in mind.
Will there be a melee? I'm not entirely convinced. If it is going to be a glaive, then that's a weapon Kestrel. Okay, all right. I might have wanted to see a double range to go with this Finn, because you're going to need at least some counter poke for this Lyra. Like Lyra Vox early on in the lane, you got resonance bounces, you got Gerardo attacks, and by the time you get into the level 4, 5, 6, you got some pretty hefty heals behind that, and that can be some pretty good lane dominance. Because again, Finn is big, he's slow, he's not going to be that instigator, but the glaive can be. So maybe we'll be going for something a little bit earlier than the level 6 ganks.
We might just do that, but hang on a minute. I've got a Grumpjaw on our screens as well for Enforcers to decide, you know what, we're going to put this new hero to the test. We'll see what we can do with it. And
that's Jungle Crystal?
I guess. I mean, that's what I was just thinking, man. I mean, I assume so.
Afro. He's the captain. He's going to be that Captain Lyra. This is a Jungle Grumpjaw. That's cool.
Yeah, if it works, it's cool. If it doesn't, it's kind of a shame. In all honesty, I kind of want to see a Grumpjaw work very well, but I think Enforcers can do it against NRG thus far. I mean, they've proved it already, and maybe this is a little test to them to see if they can bring it out in a competitive game. Okay,
so the last week, the last series of the day had the best anime girls taking on Energy, and the best anime girls ran Grumpjaw and Rona twice. And it won both times. That's what put Energy down here into the elimination bracket. Now there's another Grumpjaw, but this time it's not a Captain Grumpjaw. What we saw in the previous Challengers week was a very big captain, kind of harassy kind of Grumpjaw. Like, he would always be charging forward, looking for the harass, getting those armor stacks and all that, right? But the big thing is that he went into a lot of cooldown reduction, and then by like the level 8 mark, level 9 mark, with 2 items of cooldown reduction, he had his ult on 30-second cooldown, and he just kept eating people, and they get a kill. And then they get the follow-up kill, because the other guy just gets spit out, right? So I don't know if we're going to see something similar here. I just don't know how Archaic is going to be playing this Grumpjaw, but really his ultimate is the game changer, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. But that just kind of wasted level 6, right? I mean, Chombo's going to look for the same thing. Whoa, Believe. He was believing in himself a little bit too much there. Darted forwards with the boots and the afterburn. Didn't manage to find anyone at all. It's getting late here, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been at LAN all weekend, so it's getting pretty tough.
All right, so Archaic knows that this is going on, but will Archaic be passive early on? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all. He's chasing Believe out of his own jungle. Do you see Chombo here on the other side? Only level 1 still. And Ola is going to be hit as well. And I think they are going to chase this one. Yeah, Playboy Afro is going to dash forward as well. Saints, he's going to have to back off here. Pretty good. Bad Kestrel, not too strong in the early stages. But yeah, Archaic doing a fair bit of damage in this early game.
Yeah, so he gets a good trade on top of Believe, right? Archaic basically still full health. Thanks, Afro. So he fights off Believe. They get that ancient trade. It takes a normal trade, fights off Chombo, and all of a sudden you got 2 people here at half health for very little in return. So again, like, will this be more early game? Will this be more late game? Not entirely sure on either side, but I don't think Archaic's going to be very happy just to sit on his heels and farm. It feels like he wants to just continue to move forward and see what plays they can make.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing they did really well last game, right? Is just moving forward, seeing what plays they could make, and they did a fantastic job of doing that, getting that early advantage, and like you mentioned earlier, just not letting go. And Archaic just wants to prove that he can do that over and over. He's actually going towards the Storm Crown build, so not full Crystal just yet. And can you imagine he's going to go full Crystal, or is he going to go more supportive route?
Honestly, this is my first time having a Crystal Grumpjaw in my matches, Jaws. I believe that it will be something like going into the banner, into the shock. I would really want to see the shock. If he doesn't, I'll be really sad. But from there, he could go into like an Atlas, because he wants to be somewhat in the middle of all things. And then maybe we'll see like a Broken Myth. But I'm honestly, like, this is just off the top of my head theorizing. I just don't have enough experience with a Crystal Grumpjaw.
I mean, Aftershock would make sense, right? Because you do a lot upfront load of burst damage, and then you follow up with the Broken Myth. But yeah, I mean, Atlas Pauldron's definitely 100% you're going to grab that one. Just making sure Saints can't get a lot of damage off through the attack speed decrease that the Atlas Pauldrons will provide. Breaking Point is going to be finished here for the Vox on the side of NRG. However, Saints is going to not be able to pick up anything thus far. Sorrowblade not on the cards just yet.
All right, so 0-0, 4 minutes in, not really any kind of big plays being made out yet, but that's a first item Afro with a Crucible. So that's even before Fountain. That is definitely a deviation from normal play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only thing I could think of right now, off the top of my head, obviously, would be the Afterburn that he definitely wants to block, right? But the level 6 for Chombo is going to come around fairly shortly, so I guess he's kind of pre-preparing for that. Is the only thing I can think of.
I mean, he does have innate healing, right? He has that sigil, he puts it down, he heals up, doesn't technically, I guess, need that fountain. Most people will still go with it. It's a great panic button. You just hit that and you could perhaps turn around that fight. But maybe, just maybe, with this glaive to go forward, or looking to defeat that hook, if you hit that Crucible early, he's just now standing there looking at you. And that's maybe where Grumpjaw can come back into it, because he has that crown ready to go. He's been clearing out fairly decently, and if he does go into the Aftershock, that's cooldown basically completed. That's all he needs for cooldowns. And again, that ult should be something like 30-40 seconds on repeat, and you can just look for these engages.
Well, speaking of ults, Archaic has got his available now, and you'd be happy to know he's picked up a crystal bit as well. So I can imagine he's going to go towards literally anything crystal power. So at least he's going a little bit offensive, but Aftershock definitely would make a lot of sense. Chombo doing his very, very best to kind of push back against the ever enforceful enforcers. Now just wandering their way up the lane at this current time. They might want to look for something here. Archaic just trying his best right now to just make sure Believe cannot get on his backline.
Okay, a little bit of a push from Enforcers. They are up front, but there's no hook to deal with. There's no silence here. Yeah. Oh, well, there's no Vox. Never mind. For some reason, I thought Sans was Vox. But yeah, no one-shot either. So just lots of sieging to be happening here with Ola and Afro.
Yeah, I mean, Believe, again, does have this afterburn, but he's not been able to kind of find a position. He kind of went for one at level 2, didn't really find anything else, and Archaic just kind of had a little bit of free reign. And want to mention something here as well with the Grumpjaw, very, very mobile. And you mentioned, obviously, the cooldowns not being insanely high as you start to scale. And Archaic, if he's allowed to do that, it just seems like NRG is going to be in a very, very sticky situation.
Well, so far it could actually go either way. If you look at the cash, it's not a huge difference between them, Jaws. Like less than 1,000 between them. 7 minutes, dead even on the kills. Not really big objective games happening quite yet. So we are definitely going to be looking for a transition here after big first items are had. And as soon as Afro gets that fountain ready to go, Archaic is still looking for that Aftershock. And at the same time, Ola, he's actually not gone for a Sorrow Blade. He does have that breaking point ready to go, and so we'll have to see where the monocle, or for the lucky coin, will go. Will it be that monocle? Will it be a tornado trigger? Not entirely sure yet, but it's just a lot of farming here from both sides.
Yeah, just an absolute ton. I mean, there's not really anything that Chombo can do with that level 6, and that's something we touched on last game. Although Archaic, he's
level
level 7 side now. I mean, yeah, he is level 7. I'm just kind of waiting for him to dash over the wall and grab somebody. I'm not going to lie to you. Just Saints is... Yeah, exactly. Then just be like, okay, I pretty much killed you. Is to kill you by now. 2v3 situations, not going to go well for you whatsoever, especially with the damage coming out of Ola, picking up that broken... I was going to say broken monocle, but it's not that at all. It's
needs some damage, but
it's a monocle.
Not enough. Yeah, it is a monocle. So back to a little bit more of an old school. All I've seen today out of Voxes are Sorrow Blades. So this is a little bit of a cheaper build, but you have to stack that damage. Again, Chombo on the other side, right? He's big, he's slow, he's great for stacking damage.
Yeah, he really is. Okay, looking for something here, possibly. Every time he steps forward, I'm just literally waiting for him to use it. Like, it's such a funny ability to watch as well. Believe stepping a little bit forward, but this has kind of been the, I guess, the kind of story of it all, right? The fact that Enforcers can walk up so far towards this turret, and NRG are literally just having to take the beating without any meaningful follow-up.
Afro has his figure basically just hovering over that. Oh, and he didn't block it.
We got it! Oh my goodness, the damage follow-up as well. Archaic almost falling as Ola just bite the dust. Playboy Afro is going to be able to get out of there with the use of those boots. One shot, one kill is going to penetrate, but not going to be doing any meaningful damage thus far. Saints doing a lot of work in their backline. Finally manages to pick himself up a kill.
Okay, well, hovering that finger over that block button didn't do him any good that time. Finally, a little bit of something has kind of come through, but Chombo's still low, and they're still looking for this gold miner.
Oh, yes they are. Gold miner goes fairly low. It does actually go over to NRG. Ola's going to be here also. Chombo is going to use those boots to get away. He's going to use those to escape without too much of a worry. Enforcers, they do let it slip a little bit there. NRG taking that one very, very handily. And yeah, like you said, just not quick enough on the tap.
All right, so 1-0. It's a gold miner there in the bank as well. Let's take a quick look at the cash. Not that different. So rinse repeat a little bit here. If we can get the block on top of the fin, it's a big engage tool gone from Energy, but at the same time, still kind of waiting to see who Archaic's gonna take for a bit of a trip in his stomach there.
Oh yes, and he hasn't used it yet. He's level 9 full court, level 9, and he hasn't managed to get his ult off just yet. Aftershock is going to be the pickup as well for him, so he's doing a fair chunk of damage, and this is the thing I wanted to see him do really early, was just make sure you get good use of that ultimate. Make sure you can find someone, even if they step out of position for a second, because the damage follow-up from the rest of your squad is going to be so apparent.
Yep. It absolutely could be. Like, both teams have a good kill comp. Nobody's really budged from this early game. It's now going to be more of a transition here into, the mid into the late here soon enough, with Kraken now almost on the horizon. A good, 4 minutes or so. But let's see who gets through this fight.
Oh, I don't know. Enforcers are going to be able to heal up. Forster Cord is going to get blocked. I think this is Enforcers' time to make something happen here. Archaic, buddy. You still got that ultimate available to you. Just make something happen. Just make those plays. He did a fantastic job of it last game on the Samuel, but just maybe a little bit too hesitant to click the button.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on this here as well, right? If we win out 2-0, we all go to bed. But if we screw up and Energy comes back, maybe your resolve is shattered.
Ooh, speaking of shattered resolves, Playboy Afro almost had his shattered before his very eyes. He does manage to get away. Does use the sigil to just speed himself up. That Crucible is on a 10-second cooldown now. Forster Cord on a 40, so they can just make a big play here if they needed to, as long as they're keeping track of these cooldowns.
Okay, yeah, and it's a big part of this game. Knowing when your opponents are going to have those abilities ready to go, it's a really good timing window to really get used to. Like, if you can punish your opponents when their abilities are down, like, that is an excellent tool to have. I'm sure these guys have it in the bag in terms of that, but it's all about footsies, and Energy playing so defensive around this turret as well. It's very hard to engage here from Enforcers.
It really is, and the turret's only been chunked out, not even, I'd say about a fifth maybe, so it's not really any meaningful damage, and NRG can easily just kind of push this turret down without too much of an issue if they do want to put the pressure on. Okay, and the gang are going to have to quickly retreat here just to make sure NRG doesn't take that turret, but they might just want to transfer their positioning onto this gold miner now, though. Okay, Goes found somebody. Is going to get blocked. Saints is going to go really low there. Passageway is going to get followed through, and he ends up falling at the end. Finally picking up a kill. Archaic finds one. Chombo is going to be on the run away. Believe it there as well. Is going to afterburn Ola away just to make sure he doesn't follow up on any meaningful damage. Chombo is going to get out alive. That gold miner is going to go to Enforcers as they finally put the pedal to the metal.
Archaic missed Hangry.
He missed Hangry. He did. I thought he got blocked, but he didn't. He just missed it.
He went for the glaive, and glaive went over the wall. It's like, nope, not dealing with that.
But it's on such a short cooldown, man. It's already up. Like, Archaic has this cooldown available to him yet once more. I mean, Saints has spawned, and Ola is almost going to get dragged in, but quick on the fingers, Crucible is going to get popped.
Hangry into stuffed, like that's what you're going to be wanting to see for Archaic. But if you miss the hangry, you're going to miss the stuffed. And again, though, with the double cooldown reduction, like, it's already back up, right? So Come on, let's. How angry are you here, Archaic? You have a big opportunity to punish this because we have 40 seconds on that hook, right? If you're looking at those cooldowns, you know more or less that you should have a pretty good button advantage when it comes to this next fight.
Yeah, okay, moving forward. Does get stunned up. Afterburn actually is going to land onto Ola. He's going to be able to get away not without too much of an issue. That silence coming through as well. It's going to land to Believe. There's a lot of damage from NRG here. Saints following up very, very well. Sidhu is going to heal Enforcers up. And they will be able to just kind of re-engage this one. Big boy Afro, though, very, very low. Actually takes a glimmer shot. One too many. Does end up falling there. NRG just punished the misstep.
And once again, that one I believe did actually get blocked. I'm pretty sure that stuff did actually get blocked. And Archaic not finding a lot of success with this Grumpjaw. The scaling of the weapon power Kestrel finally starting to show a lot of colors here as well. 2 and 1 for Saints. He's sitting on 3 item, and every time there's engaged, like if they jump on top of this weapon Kestrel, if she's fast enough with the camo, that's a pretty big stun tool right there. It also keeps her out of harm's way, allows a little bit of time for Chamba to set up the defenses, and maybe even if Believe needs to heal. But so far, it's starting to actually transition a little bit more towards energy, I would feel, in these team fights.
Yeah, they definitely are stepping up to the plate right now. Enforcers, remember, they are a game up in this best of 3. Can NRG pull it to a game 3? They do win this game. Gold lead, though, realistically, not looking too big. NRG, 300 gold in their back pockets over Enforcers, but Kraken has been awoken eventually. And with the infusions coming out left, right, and center as well, will mean these team fights are going to be pretty explosive. I'm still looking for Archaic to just make a kind of a daring hero move onto Saints. It's just trying to take him out of these fights.
Yeah, I'm not entirely too sure daring would be the word. Like, Archaic has actually gone Metal Jacket, not Atlas.
So blocking a little bit more of that damage. I mean, Atlas Poldra maybe not. He's thinking maybe he won't be as effective with Saints, just using the glimmer shots a lot.
You need that double Atlas against a weapon Kestrel. Her damage is tied into her auto attacks.
We have to wait and see if they do want to go for that one. I mean, he could go Atlas and Full Metal Jacket. I mean, there's definitely a possibility.
All right, that turret, though, is still at half. The defensive plays from energy is really stalling out anything that Enforcers want to do, and it's almost like it's its own mind game by itself. It's just like, yeah, we're good. I don't need to throw out this anchor. Nope, still not throwing it. Nope, and they just have to play around.
Archaic has found somebody, though. Almost gets taken out instantly. He jumps in. He finally eats someone up, and it will be Chomba, Believe even. As Kestrel almost goes down, but the damage does come through, and the Vox is just going to fall quite easily. Playboy Afro is going to have to dart away. One shot, one kill does go a little bit wide. Believe still looking for him here, and Archaic did not find the fight he wanted. To burn on to Playboy Afro. Archaic is going to join him at this turret. They are just going to be able to force them away. 20-second cooldown on Archaic's ultimate will just make sure NRG just don't want to test the waters too much.
Ola might have lived if there wasn't a Lyra portal. That Lyra portal actually gave a passageway for this glaive to go get the stun up against the wall with the afterburn. That's what happened right there. Like, if that portal wasn't there, he might have lived. I'm not saying he would have, but he might have.
He might have. Archaic might not live right now as Playboy Afro and him get jumped on. They just want that turret dead, poor Corp, but it's just not happening yet. Ola has joined them finally back in the lane. Chombo is fairly healthy at this current time with the Force to Court available. It's definitely something that Enforcers need to look out for. Double Silence comes through from the Vox, but other than that, I think that's going to be about it. They don't want to push even more.
Yeah, Energy's not really looking in fighting shape at this point. Saints is thinking of going to go get a Treant. That's fine, but now we're left to 2v3. Fortunately for them, there's not really a ton of push to go forward. There we go, it finally came.
We finally kick in indeed. Archaic's going to dart in yet again, just kind of whiffing his ultimate. They just cannot find the targets. Ola going forward as well. Chombo ends up falling there. Believe's actually going to pump one back into underneath the turret, but it's actually going to help because Archaic's going to pick up a double kill. I believe is all on his own now against 3 members of Enforcers. They finally find the ace they wanted and a turret to boot as well. Very, very nice positioning from them.
I think these Libra turrets have actually played more for blue than they have for red, because Archaic charged forward and got put all the way back into the end zone of his own team rather than trying to get a touchdown on the other side. But no, by the end of it, they were tanky enough. They had the sustain. You got to give big props there to Afro in order to keep his team going on that. But a big ace up against Energy gives him a Kraken to boot. And all of a sudden, we're now looking at a very kind of shaky late game here. Enforcers with a Kraken pushing in off the momentum of the first ace of the game. That is a lot of sweat coming out of Energy right now.
Yeah, I mean, they had such an early game advantage as well, and such a really fantastic early game, I should say. Enforcers, they didn't look as hot coming out of the gate this time, but with that ace, like you mentioned, is going to result in that Kraken, which is going to result in at least one extra turret going down as well. I mean, the siege potential from Ola and Archaic is just so strong because of that. Just, you know, he's going to be there. You know, he has stuff. He's trying to go in for one now. He actually does end up finding somebody. He will be believed once more. Force Call comes in, only dragging in Archaic, but look at the Kraken still knocking on that turret. Ola is going to help him finish it off, and that passageway is going to get followed through. That's a lot of damage, and the Fountain as well to heal them all up, but believes in a lot of trouble here. It's 1v1 in the back line, though. Chombo ends up finding the passageway. Ola only just doesn't make it through. Believe almost goes down instantly there to Ola's damage as well. The Fox really coming online at this current time, and this could be the last push of the game here. NRG are letting these turrets fall. That Kraken is still at half HP. Forces, I think, might just go for the win here for Court. They're on the Vainglory, they're on the Nexus. They're on everything. They're on everything, Crystal. And that's going to be the end of the game. 2 games in a row. No, 3 best of 3s in a row. 2-0s. Absolutely so clean. And I think this was our closest game of the night.
Energy just, again, like when they got invaded right there at their turret, the turret goes down, the push happens, the Kestrel went to farm, the train came back, turret goes down, they get engaged upon, right? They had no business being there. They were at half health. They get ace, they lose a Kraken, and subsequently lose the game. It's just one decision took out a lot of little bits of momentum that they were accruing and just threw it all out the window there, Jaws. The Kraken comes through, they get the kills, and after the Kraken, do you know what Archaic did? After the Kraken, after that ace, after that turret, he had a ton of cash. He went and bought an Atlas. Like, there was nothing Saints could do to the guy. Like, Saints was literally just kind of having his arrows bounce off the scaly hide of this thing, and it just couldn't do any damage against this comp. Like, not only was there a ton of healing from the Lyra, but that armor, that front line from Archaic ended up being way too much to deal with.
Yeah, wow, guys. That was, I mean, it was a really close match. Like you said, one of the closest matches we had tonight. And, you know, kind of interesting, the parity of the first matchup of this series was one of the most one-sided matchups we had, or at least up there with several of the one-sided matchups we had. And then to come in here and then, you know, go really close. I really like what NRG did for a good chunk of that series, right? They really made it impossible for Archaic to engage. So for a lot of this, Grumpjaw was not doing a lot of work. But you're right, he got super tanky and really started to become just a menace, because even though they weren't able to engage, they still were able to clear out the jungle, farm, and get the goldie that they needed to get. So that, you know, you're looking at a 1-to-1 kill 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the game, you know, not a lot of action, and then it just really opened up. This is probably one of the closest, lowest killed games we've had in quite some time here in Challengers, just because, you know, 4-4, I mean,
4-4, yeah,
really low. And, you know, it wasn't a match where Enforcers had too many issues. Some bad plays where they got overextended, did get locked up there. You know, Finn will, if they can pull you, which we saw a good Finn pull locking on to Ola. Afro was not able to block that at the time. It was late on the Crucible. You know, that kind of stuff you see. You know, you'll see Enforcers make a mistake like that and give up some leverage, some advantage points. But overall, Enforcers playing solid, even when they couldn't play their comp as effective as they wanted to.
Just, it was a very kind of strange dance that we had. Like, everything was just all about that first turret, right? Energy, they put up all 3 people, they keep the turret alive, they just continuously defend at it. And they did that for so long, but as soon as it went down, and they were just even 3/4 health, like, that was the engage point from Enforcers. And their front line of Archaic worked out way better than I thought. I thought this was going to be a bit more damage oriented, but somebody in the chat's like, how don't they know anything about a utility Grumpjaw, I'm not entirely too sure I'd call this utility because like he needs to bring something to the table. Having a one cooldown every 30 seconds doesn't really cut it for me to call it that.
Well,
But
you know,
at the same
it's
time,
it's built
it
like
works out.
Yeah, it works out. It's built in a way that says, hey, it does damage just like the glaive utility, right? It's because that Storm Crown does so much damage and Aftershock as well. You know, you don't really need a lot of CP. It's based on maxed health.
Yeah, but at least he has a knock around every 10 seconds. Even more than that, every like 8.
Well, Grumpjaw's got a swallow. I mean, that's about
every 30 that can be blocked. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it here, Dragon's not the time or place.
Yeah, it worked. Mechanically, they played fantastic once they needed to into late game.
My first non-carry... Oh, no, my first carry Grumpjaw that's actually won.
Wow.
Yeah, learn something new every day, man.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break here, take a look at where we're at and where the brackets are at, so you're not going to want to go anywhere. We will come back and debrief everybody, and like we may get into another series, we have to check a look, see what teams and matchups we have coming up next. We'll be right back after the break.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
All right, everybody, we are back here, and looks like as we get really late into the night, we are going to be saying goodnight to everybody, as we do still have a few games actually being played. So, you know, that was a really exciting matchup. I do just want to talk with you, Fourcore, a little bit about that. And Jaws, do you have any like quick words or things you want to talk about from that series that you saw before we get into a little bit of a tiny discussion here before we wrap up for tonight?
Honestly, I want to see Hardek back on the roster of NRG and see what they can do from there, because that last game was actually really close. Like, we've got to really put that in perspective. Yeah, basically, Red, you got to get the Hardek flags out. You got to wave them a little bit, NRG logos on them. Like, I want to see what he can do on that roster, because that last game was very close. And I think maybe Enforcer's catching NRG a little bit off guard. So with a full roster lineup with Hardek on as well, maybe NRG could have taken that one, or at least given it a game 3.
That is a really interesting discussion, interesting point there, because, you know, with him not being on here, I mean, keep in mind, you know, with Hardek, they fell to best anime girls, and I think there was a lot of turmoil. Maybe there's some discussion going on in the team about how they're going to deal with that. Maybe this was their answer, and looks like, you know, wasn't quite good enough. Was Enforcers a much higher seed than the anime girls? Yes. So, you know, it's hard to say this was really a surprise. But and Enforcers played really, really well, even with some of the mistakes throughout those two games. I think that there's a lot of discussion. We'll definitely have to see. I really think Hardek is a skilled player. I think that he brings a lot to the table. I think that strategy-wise and just the way he plays, the cadence he plays into a game, is very aggressive and something that maybe it's hard for a lot of players to keep up with. So hopefully we keep seeing him coming back here into the Vainglory fold in games to come here. But with that, energy is knocked out of the Challenger Series. So in kind of a kind of a sad, anticlimactic way there, Forecourt.
You win some, you lose some, but by the end of it all, it's making a little bit more of a roster change or like a mix-up in your playing line. This late into a tournament, there's
tough.
something to be said about synergy. There is something you can say about the practice. The
Echo Fox did it.
Your opponents.
I mean, it kind of depends, right? I guess it depends on who's at the helm. Echo Fox with Fuji at the helm, they make that change, and it works. But you also are talking about keeping the veteran at the helm, keeping them in a position where they can make those calls and make an impact on the games versus removing him completely.
Well, I mean, it's their business what they want to do about it. It's not like he's invisible. He was in chat. He was here answering questions. He was talking about his team. He was, just kind of doing analysis on the side in the chat. And we love that. We really do. Sweet Generous was here a little bit earlier, kind of doing a little bit more of the same thing as well. And those are good resources. So, like, these guys know what they're doing. It's just sometimes it does take a while to find that winning combination. And it just doesn't look like it's going to be the cards this split for energy.
Yeah, unfortunately not. As we move on, there are a few more games happening. Enforcers is moving on to play Elite Four, and that match will be happening off stream, as well as Ardent. They are waiting for the winners of Infinity Rebirth versus, I believe it is Best Anime Girls. Best Anime Girls making it up through their match there. They beat Fable GG. They're going to play Infinity Rebirth and then on. So a few more matchups here tonight. Of course, we'll keep you guys posted on Twitter. You're going to want to follow that and track that here. But with that, we are going to end stream. Thanks everybody for coming out and watching these games. They're pretty exciting, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good night. Got to see some cool things. Best Anime Girls dropping 2-0 was probably what's the reverse of a highlight for me? Like the shocker, I guess.
There was a little bit of a letdown there. I mean, I think one of the more exciting series just to see Echo Fox play so well was really felt good. It felt good to see them back.
Josh,
it also felt good to see a Grumpjaw win. Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, true.
Maybe Energy's kryptonite is Grumpjaw.
Maybe so.
Maybe. All right, guys, we are going to say goodnight. Take care. We'll see you guys tomorrow as we get into Group B, bright and early at 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you then.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.